One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham. Breaking news into the Fanfare newsfeed.
All right, everybody, I got a bunch of breaking news coming from you just from Donald Trump. In addition, we are on indictment watch in the grand jury. Right now, I've got a couple streams open. They're out in front of the courthouse waiting for any moment, literally any moment, for the grand jury to hand down the indictment of John Bolton. So you're going to be prepared for some more gnashing of teeth and wailing if this happens, which it probably will. But right now we're just watching. You'll probably see it on Twitter. People will probably start screaming as soon as they possibly see it. But John Bolton is likely to be indicted today. But before we get there, President Trump had a few things that he wanted to discuss. Earlier this morning at 11:20 a.m., he says, "I am speaking to President Putin now. The conversation is ongoing, a lengthy one, and I will report the contents, as will President Putin, at its conclusion. Thank you for your attention to this matter." He followed up with this one, the longer one, the details, the deets. "I have just concluded my telephone conversation with President Vladimir Putin of Russia, and it was a very productive one. You know where this is headed. President Putin congratulated me and the United States on the great accomplishment of peace in the Middle East," something that he said. Now remember that line right there. He was congratulated on the accomplishment of getting peace in the Middle East. That has been very important to President Trump, which the next thing I'll show you is going to show you even more about that. I actually believe that the success in the Middle East will help in our negotiation and attaining an end to the war with Russia and Ukraine. President Putin thanked First Lady Melania for her help and involvement with the children. Remember, she did the speech last week where she's talked to Putin about getting some of these missing kids back. We still haven't got much of an explanation on how are these kids taken? They're on out. But anyway, he was very appreciative and said that this will continue. We also spent a great deal of time talking about trade between Russia and the United States when the war with Ukraine is over. With Ukraine, not the Ukraine. At the conclusion of the call, we agreed that there will be a meeting of our high-level advisors next week. The United States initial meetings will be led by Secretary Marco Rubio. What a job he's done. What an amazing job Marco Rubio's done. Together with various other people to be designated. A meeting location is to be determined. President Putin and I will then meet in an agreed upon location in Budapest, Hungary, to see if we can bring this inglorious war between Russia and Ukraine to an end. Interesting that he put inglorious in quotation marks there. President Zelensky, Ukraine's president, and I will be meeting tomorrow. So you know what's coming tomorrow. We got a coverage of Zelensky back in the Oval Office, where we will discuss my conversation with President Putin and much more. I believe great progress was made today with today's telephone conversation, which they say lasted a few hours. So, could number 9 be on the table? The number 9 war that President Trump could bring to an end. This is the big one. And these guys have not been able to get to the table and end this. But it seems like something is about to happen. Again, he mentioned Zelensky will be in the Oval Office tomorrow, which means there'll be a whole lot of stuff for us to cover. But earlier in that message, and if that happens, that would be fantastic. But earlier in that message, he said that, he likes the idea. It really means a lot to him that there's peace in the Middle East. Well, if you've been around on X at all, you've been seeing some of the videos coming out of Gaza, where these savages are, how can I say it nicely, shooting people in the head, making them kneel down and doing executions of people that they think sold them out to Israel. Not cool at all. And also not cool, you're filming it and putting it out there, showing people you're savages. Well, in the most stark of message, I don't know how he could put it any clearer. And of course, this is going to just make Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar just completely lose it.
But Keith, is that what you're saying? Is that...
If Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, which was not the deal, we will have no choice but to go in and kill them. If you don't get your act together, we're going to take you out. Imagine the President of the United States just said that to Hamas. Thank you for your attention to this matter, as he ends it nicely. Wow. No more, we'll see, this might happen, we'll talk. No, if you don't stop, we're going to kill you. That's it. You reached the final, the ultimate FO of FAFO. You're at the brink of final FO. No more talk, no more negotiation, no more treaties. This is going to be solved with good old-fashioned lead poisoning. The same thing you were meting out on other people, you're about to see the same thing. And it won't be tough. We know where you are. You saw what happened in Iran. I may not even send lead poisoning. I might just create a big mist. We are at the position right now where President Trump is going to make sure there's peace in the Middle East, that there will be peace in the Middle East, one way or the other. One way meaning if we get rid of all the bad guys, then there's pretty much going to be peace. You can do it the easy way, we can do it the hard way. Actually, either way is easy for Trump. So look for that. Very, very interesting news right there. All right, so I planned a show today. Okay, just to let you know, President Trump, as I'm still watching John Bolton, President Trump is due up at 3 o'clock to make an announcement of which we don't know what it's going to be. Love that he keeps doing it. So we're so busy. We're just going to keep pushing forward. I finally got everything put together at the night studio, so it's going to be balls to the wall from here on out, peeps. Oh yeah, no more worried about this or that. We're unless something breaks, we are going to be doing 2 shows, one in the day, one at the night, Monday through Thursday. And so tonight I'm going to do everything. This is going to happen, so we'll see that tonight. So 3 o'clock we got Trump, 8 o'clock me again, and now we'll get into today's show as we watch for everything else. I was sitting down last night at about 11 o'clock or midnight, and I was watching a bunch of stuff happened. And I know I've been kind of pushing the Democrat, the libnut insanity off to the side. But I wanted everyone to come together today, relax, kick your feet up, get some popcorn, get your favorite pop drink, and enjoy, laugh, learn what laughter is all about, all over again, because we're going to have some fun here for the next hour until President Trump comes up. I mean, last night, CNN held a town hall between AOC, and not between, with AOC and Bernie Sanders. And I thought to myself, why are you elevating these nuts on national television? Are you elevating these people because this is all you got? Are these the prime time players for the Democrat Party? It turned into an absolute joke. And I said, I don't normally play this much stuff from the left, but the embarrassment level was so high. I think you're going to have some fun today. I'm going to have some fun. And before I get to the town hall, I accented it. And I did the, Emeril Lagasse, bam, that guy. I added some salt to it because I found some other stuff that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I mean, absolutely crazy stuff. And we're going to have some fun. So I hope you guys are settling in. Many of you are like, you're speaking. Somebody told me, Barry, you're speaking to the choir. You ain't seen this kind of crazy. In fact, it's so crazy, they're trying to kick John Fetterman out of the party. The one guy who had a stroke and became better, they're not, we don't want him here anymore. He's crazy. He's like MAGA light. That's how far gone these people are. All John Fetterman came out and said is like, I would like to see peace in the Middle East. I would like to not shut down the government. No, you got to go. That's how bat poop crazy these people are. So without further ado, let's begin our trek here, okay?
But Keith, is that what you're saying? Is that this is representative of the Republican Party?
I am saying exactly that. The Republican Party in the past 10 years has moved down the road of racism. So it's not surprising that you see the open embrace of Nazism, of anti-Semitism, of homophobia, of transphobia, of sexism, of attacks on immigrants and xenophobia. Because the Republican Party under Donald Trump,
say that the Democrat Party has moved to the party of death.
Has doubled down on its racism.
All right, and
it only gets worse. You see, racism and isms and all the other stuff, that's all they have right now. There's nothing else. I've noticed that most of the people who complain about racism and white supremacy and all this stuff are usually the guys that are light in the loafers. I'm not sure if there's a parallel or anything that's correlative to that, but it often seems to me like, those guys whose nipples are sore are often those guys. And everything's racist, and I'm thinking, did somebody not tell me? Did someone tell me that, I'm basically that character in Dave Chappelle who doesn't know he's black? Because, there's so much racism going on. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
People are saying that Trump did a bad job 100 days in. I strongly disagree. This man has done everything he has set out to do.
Right.
I'm black. I'm terrified. I'm scared for my trans friends. And people who we know and love, our neighbors, are disappeared. And that was the goal, and he did it. He did it. He did exactly what he wanted to do because
if you're living next to neighbors that are Transformers, maybe you need to move yourself, disappear. I would disappear if some Transformers moved up in here. We cannot peacefully coexist. Again, I just let you to believe, and you can see for yourself, it seems to me that a lot of the people of darker skin that complain about Transformers and everything else and racism, it smells like a duck.
Feel less welcome in my home than I did, last year. And that's the goal. That was the goal.
Yeah,
this feeling in us is the point.
Do you think the American people go along with that? Do they want people to be disappeared?
Do they get what they voted for?
They do now.
I can't imagine living in a bubble where you think your opinion is that of the American people. Maybe they don't realize what happened last November. Maybe they don't realize that, 80 million people said, that's what I want. All of us collectively, one of the reasons we voted for President Trump is because he's doing what he's doing right now. It seems like they were in a daze and they're just waking up. He's actually doing it. Yeah, he's doing it. That's what you hire somebody for. You hire them to do a job that's in front of you. And he said, I can do it better than the other people, so hire me and I will get this done. And now that he's getting it done, the left is shocked. There's got to be something else. People are too stupid to vote for this guy. There's no way. It's racism, authoritarianism, ism this, and fascist, and that's it. How about the fact that Americans looked at what the country was becoming and said, we've had enough. We don't want any more of this crap. This is what we wanted. They can't stomach it. They can't even accept the fact that people really want this. And I don't know if it's a causation type thing because of their environment, who they're around. Did they not pay any attention to anybody outside of their bubble? That now this is such a surprise that, oh my God, this can't be what America wants, when that's exactly what we voted for. There was no doubt. We watched his rallies. We understood what he was going to do. Did they ignore it and think it was a pipe dream?
Yeah, I do. People are like, ha, 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 isn't this funny? You voted for Trump and you lost your job. Ha, ha, ha. Isn't
that funny?
And I'm like, what was the math there? Because if I'm talking trash about immigrants and then I'm disappearing them, what did you think I was going to do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm terrified for our autistic family members. Because
Hold on. I've got to do some looking up here. I'm not sure on Trump's agenda. Is there anything here about deporting autistic children? While I check, you guys continue because I can't seem to find that.
FK Jr. say registry?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So look, I'm like everybody else waking up in the middle of the night going, the children. And I don't have any.
That's right.
As you watch some of this stuff, I know some of you guys are like, oh my God, are these people? Yes, they're not. I don't think they're acting. I really think they feel this way. I really think that they think this way. I think that they think we are rubes who just learned how to walk. They don't understand it. We have thinking minds and families, and we've somehow lived through all kinds of presidencies, and we're still now here, and now we got someone we want. Now y'all know how we felt during the Obama age. Forget the Biden age. That aberration of a president who started all this stuff. Now you see how we felt. But unfortunately for you, Obama couldn't do what he wanted to do. There was too many impediments. And so what you've decided to do is use the court system to do anything possible to try and stop President Trump. Nah, it's not working.
I'm a white woman that has lived in a red state my entire life. And I can tell you, when I'm around white people, they test the racist water. They test it on people like you all.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
All the time. And they'll try to say off-color things. I put my hand up. It absolutely happens. And you're fortunate that maybe you haven't experienced it.
Can I just say, literally this August, a white person said the N-word.
So shut up, bitch! Oh my God!
In front of me.
And the vice president...
Can I just tell you for a second, Ron? Can I tell you a second here? Just the other day, a white person said the N-word. That's a national news station. But then I guess if you're going to have AOC and Bernie on to talk about things, having these kind of nuts on television is just table setting. It's an appetizer. Can I tell you, just last week, and white people, you should see white people test the racist waters. Did I get a good one by mistake? Robin, are you testing me or something? I don't get it. Where do these people live? I go out every single day. I walk around, I go to stores. Last night I was in shopping at Best Buy. I'm going to restaurants, and nobody ever tests the water. Whatever that means. How do you test racist water? It's not like being, if you're racist, you're racist. You don't have to test it. I don't like no black peoples. All right, I'd rather you tell me. You don't got to test it. If I walk into a store and you don't like the way I look because of the color of my skin, stand up and say it. You don't got to test anything. Matter of fact, I never knew a racist person who tests the waters. Racist people don't have to test anything. They just say it or do it or give you the finger or whatever. They're not... Should I call him an N-word and run? You think you can catch me? By the way, I will. And then you'll be upset. And the other one, just the other day, prove it. Take a picture. You got a video, take your camera. Unless you can document it, I don't believe you. I think you're a liar. I think you just say stuff on what's supposed to be a news network. Craziness.
So a lot of individuals in this city pay more than 50% of their income in taxes. When you talk about a fair share, how much more than that? What is the fair share? What's the number?
I've said that we should increase personal income taxes by 2%.
Is fair.
And my point is this:
give up more than half of your income. That's
if you're making $1 million in New York City or more than that, you can afford to pay 2% more. And
I think I would beach slap somebody if they tell me what they think I can or can't afford. If you're making $1 million, let me just tell you this, having been from Connecticut and have spent a lot of time in Manhattan, if you're making $1 million in New York City, you ain't got that much money. Trust me, $1 million in New York City is probably like, I don't know, 30 or 40, 50% difference. You ain't pocketing $1 million. Notice he said, if you're making... Well, I'm not bringing home $1 million. If I live in New York and my salary is $1 million, I work for a hedge fund, well, there's a 10% city tax. There's this tax, the real estate tax. There's that tax. Then the federal government, no, you're giving away about 65% of your money. Now all of a sudden that $1 million looks about like $350,000 or $400,000. And this guy's trying to tell you what you can and can't afford. How do you know what my car payment is? How do you know what my condo payment is? How do you know what my grocery bills are? How do you know anything about my life that you are now going to affix a number to it and say, yeah, you can't afford it. You can afford it. Just pay it. I can't go to the car place and go, hey, listen, Mandami said that it should be cheaper. I can't go to the grocery store and say it should be cheaper. But yet he's telling people what they can and can't afford with their own money. I would never presume or put myself in a position where I would even ever try to dictate to somebody else what they can or can't afford. I told you down here you can travel and you can see boats that cost 10, 20, 30 million, $100 million for a boat. And some people goes, nobody should have to have that. What do you mean? Why should somebody not have what they want? You see, they're calling Trump an authoritarian. Trump has never said, nor would he ever say, you don't deserve the fruits of your labor. See, that's straight up communism. He is putting a valuation where there's a ceiling. That's it. You've made too much. We're going to have to take it. Well, it's my money. I work it. I have my business. I do this. I do that. And I know there's some people in the chat who espouse wealth, who don't like to hear about wealth and prosperity. Well, this is the kind of people that your alternative is. If you're not looking for prosperity, if you're not looking to build prosperity for you and your family, there are people out there who will take it from you. And you're thinking right now, possibly, that it's not like that, Barry. He wouldn't do that to us because we don't make as much money. Oh yeah? Maybe you should go look up Eat the Bugs and Live in the Pod. Their ideology can't exist on money from so-called rich people. And $1 million a year ain't rich. At least I wouldn't call that rich. I would say doing well, but you ain't rich. And this guy, if he's starting there at $1 million, if he's starting with New Yorkers that make $1 million, well, first of all, there's a whole lot of people above that. And then the biggest pool is this big giant pool down here of under $1 million. You think he's going to stop with those people, or is he going to come downtown too? It's easy when you're arbitrarily just saying, I can take from you. You don't deserve the Bentley. You don't deserve the penthouse in the sky. You don't deserve that. Well, yeah, I do. That's why I do what I do. I deserve that. I want to live in Times Square at the top. And this guy's coming in as your mayor and telling you you don't deserve it. You need to give it to us. I'll see and tell you where it goes. To me, that's a joke. I would not even be in New York right now waiting for this election. I would already be making plans to get out of here because it's even the fact that it's so close is problematic. The fact that people are even willing to entertain this insanity. I don't want to live anywhere near a group of people who feel like they deserve my money. So you've got the Big Apple, the biggest city in the country, where a whole bunch of people, I believe he's at like 45%, who believe, yeah, we should take their money. We don't need to be working so hard. They don't need the yacht. They don't need the jet and the helicopter. We'll take their money. The fact that 45% of the people in that city are advocating for this guy would be reason enough for me to get on a plane. Y'all can have all this. I'm not even calling the movers. I can replace all this. I'm out. Good luck. Have at it. I'm done. I wouldn't advocate that on any group, town, city in the country. If you're in a small burg somewhere and that's starting to sprout up and they're saying that, you start hearing that you don't need thing, run. Because there's a lot of minions who feel the same way, who look at you when you get out your nice car or go into the nice restaurant, or you're up in a box suite someplace at a game. There's a lot of people who would say, they don't deserve that. Now, what I find very interesting, that may be lost on people who watched this Fox interview yesterday. You're going to a giant No Kings rally this weekend, while this guy is sounding like a king. I shall tax you. I shall take what's yours. You do not deserve it. Isn't that specifically how bad kings act? How can you be for not no kings, as we talked? We don't want no kings here, but you're getting ready to crown one in New York who's going to do, quote, king-like things and take your money. I believe back in 1776, something started because a king actually did that. And I'm thinking to myself, do these people not know history at all? Do they not understand why the people got on boats and said, see ya? So I can't deal with you. I can't pray, and you want to take my money? I'm out. I'm a risk it on this ocean and get the hell out of here. And yet, 45% of them are like, yeah, tax us, please, spank us, daddy.
Reasons you can afford to do so is because that money will be used to better your quality of life as well.
Yeah.
Because
I'm going to take your money to better your quality of life. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure I could use my own money and better my quality of life without you taking it. How? I told you there was some insanity coming today. How in the hell can you say, I'm going to reach in your pocket, take your money, and I'm going to show you how much better I can do with it for you? Well, hey, Mandami, let me save you the trouble. Let me do it myself. What? I think I've done pretty well. Why do I need you to show me how you're going to increase my quality of life? You get me a new car? I don't know, new wardrobe? New condo? What are you doing that's going to improve my quality of life? Again, the people in the media, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Martha, why didn't you ask him? What the hell do you mean you're going to take my money and then tell me how I'm going to make life better for you?
I speak to the wealthiest New Yorkers. I hear concerns about the cleanliness of the city, the quality of life in the city, questions of public safety. This money is the money that will be used to deliver on those.
So you're telling me you've talked to rich people who say the quality of life that they have isn't all that well in New York City? Please, by all means, any of you rich people or considered to be rich in New York City who not really sure how to improve the quality of your life, I will show you how, and I will give you an actual return. And together we can increase both people's quality of life. Because I'm calling complete BS on that one. I'm saying, it don't make no sense, what he just said. But please do tell us some more.
Things so that we can ensure that we have a return on investment for all of the money that we are raising and spending right here across the 5 boroughs.
What? You're going to return and then, wait a second. Ooh, this sounds like the biggest scam ever. You're going to show me a return on investment that I can't spend. What's this, a Ponzi scheme? I mean, I know if I buy gold, which you should be, or I buy silver, which you should have, or stocks, I can hopefully see a return based upon my investment. It comes to me. I can look at the statement. I can also count it. This is good. That's really good. I have it in my hands. Here's my little gold piece that I use here. Yeah, there's some gold right here. This is some silver from Lear Capital, and this is some gold from Lear Capital. I can look at a chart and go on CNBC or something and go, how much is this worth today? How much is this worth today? What did I pay for these two things? Oh, I can then understand my return on investment. None of what I just showed you involves me calling Mandami and go, hey, so how are we doing today? There is no we once you elect this guy. There is no we. It's all about he and his minions and what they plan on doing. And that, my friends, is communism. As he smiled and said, I'm going to show you how to better manage your money for a great return that you will never see. Move. Absolutely move right now. Oh my gosh. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'll be right back. Big Ortho hates it when studies like this one come out. Every year, over 1 million older adults, I guess that's me, end up in a hospital from falls and injuries. Not me yet. Yet. Because I found things that work like Native Path Collagen. But for decades, we've been told the solution is simple. Take calcium, take vitamin D. But here's the truth. They don't want to talk about it. A massive meta-analysis of clinical trials proved that calcium, vitamin D, or even both together did not benefit bone health in older adults. And it gets worse. According to Harvard research, men taking over 1,000 milligrams of calcium daily were actually 20% more likely to develop heart problems. Meanwhile, women are losing up to 7% of their bone density in just the first 5 to 7 years after menopause. No wonder injuries skyrocket. But here's the big part that Big Ortho really hates. That's an overlooked nutrient hiding in plain sight that can help rebuild bone density, strengthen joints, and even improve digestion. All with just 5 grams a day. And the bonus side benefits: stronger, thicker hair, smoother skin, healthier nails. Doctors have ignored it for decades, but now top health and anti-aging experts are finally sounding the alarm. So don't wait for a fall to change your future. Go to getnativepath.com/Barry to discover the truth. And right now you'll get up to 45% off in a special bundle. No code needed. That's getnativepath.com, Barry, and that is get, GETNATIVEPATH.com/Barry. All right, and also I want to talk to you real quick before I continue about my friends who are taking care of me over at Chapter. You see, I just turned 65. I'm not ashamed to say it. I feel good. I feel good for my age. And as I'm sure, as you may be well aware, it's Medicare annual enrollment time. And as just turning 65 myself, that means I still get buried under the same spam calls and junk mail that you are. And it's a nightmare, and it's a pain in the butt. I've also learned that Medicare plans change every year. Stupid. Apparently, some even disappear. So for those of us that love our plans today, it might not be the best plan for 2026. And if you don't double check, you could lose coverage for the doctors you love or the prescriptions that you count on. And to make matters worse, most Medicare agents are hungry sharks just trying to get a commission. And so they push you in the plan that's going to give them the most money. That's why I recommend Chapter for the Fanfare family. They check every single plan in America to make sure you get the best deal. And on average, they can save people $1,100 a year. They made it dead simple. They'll review all of your options in under 20 minutes. And if you're already on the right plan, you're done and you're on your way. And if not, they can help you switch. So get some peace of mind during this enrollment period. Call Chapter at 475-328-3545 and make sure you're set heading into 2026. I'm sorry. My bad. I got it, SV. All right, so I was muted. Let me go back to that guy's comment. Oh, I forget where it was. I am not doubting President Trump whatsoever. I've never been doubting President Trump. I'm sorry the mic was off. Sometimes when the commercials play, I don't have it on. I am doing exactly what President Trump says. In case you don't realize, President Trump just signed a $6.4 billion deal with one of our sponsors here, Crypto.com. Why would President Trump be moving money and buying $6.4 billion worth of crypto, or CRO? Does he doubt the dollar, or does he understand how this diversification is going to make it more prosperous? Why is President Trump pushing rare earth minerals so much? Why is President Trump understanding that AI and silver are going to be needed to push this country where it needs to be? Is he doubting himself? Is he doubting America? No, what's happening is you're not informed. What I was explaining when I was doing this with my hand is people don't understand signal versus noise. See, there's a lot of noise out there right now. And those of us who are trying to tune in, and like the old ham radio guys, and dial it in, we're listening for the signal. We're listening for the actual things that tell us what we should be doing. And so one of the things I do on my show is I try to decode for you the noise that's out there so you can hear the actual signal. And obviously there's people like that gentleman who don't understand the signal that is being said. You are in the midst of arguably one of the best times for us to be prosperous I've seen in a long time. I'm not going to get into a prosperity message here, but you got to be paying attention. And one of those things you got to be paying attention to, here, let me show you something. You may have missed this earlier, okay? Let me back up here. President Trump posted this earlier about his meeting or talk with Putin, right? As he was talking about Putin right here, here's the signal in the middle of the noise. You ready for the signal? Where is it? It was right there. Hold on. Let me show you what it is. Oh, here it is. We spent a great deal of time talking about trade between Russia and the United States. I don't know how long this post is, but this post may be 100 or 150 words. But look at that as if now that you've got it highlighted. Now that you can separate the signal from the noise. What does that signal tell you? What does Russia have that is so huge for the world that you could profit off of? What is going to happen if when they stop this war and we begin trading again with Russia? How is it going to impact you? What can you possibly be doing? Maybe I read it to you too fast the first time. If you're not listening really intent on the signal and you're all out here with the noise, then you're going to make comments like that gentleman made. And you're missing it. Right past you. You're not even seeing it. So when I saw that, and I was like, let me take some notes here. I know what Russia has. I know what Russia's going to sell. Yeah, I know. You now know. You've never, I'm telling you, in your lifetime, you've never had a president who has been giving you so much signal. But you're focusing on the noise. I kind of put that up in a post the other day when people were talking about, Charlie Kirk's bullet and this thing and everything else. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, it was awful, but that's not going to change your life whatsoever. Might make you feel better being some sort of internet sleuth, but why are you not focused on what's really happening? I'm pretty sure President Trump said that in a meeting one day. And I sat back and I hope people seeing what he's saying. You remember that meeting? He's in the White House and somebody brings up something about Epstein. And he's like, I'm tired of talking about it. We're doing all this and y'all talking about that. You need to focus right here. This is what we're talking about. And then the next day I read through his entire 25 or 27 points that he wanted to do as president. Not one of those things on that list was Epstein. And I kept saying people in the chat, oh, Epstein. You're not focusing, people. Or at least some of you aren't. Others are like, hey, Barry, I'm up this much in silver. Oh, I'm doing this with gold. Oh, thanks for what, for. And I'm not a financial advisor. All I'm trying to do is give people the information. Say, hey, look, understand what here, let me give you one other quick example in terms of looking at signal and how to decipher it. All right, so let me bring this up. I want to show you something. A lot of people are probably missing this. Right, you ready? All right. This right here says the Dow drops 400 points, giving up gains on concern about bad loans in banking industry. Oh, all of a sudden, bank fraud is a real thing. To the point where it's shocking the stock market because, oh shit, excuse me, they're going to start looking intently on bank fraud? Is that where that puck is going? Oh boy, what do we do? Well, there's some signal for you. And then further down on the page is this signal here. Where is it? You have to, let me find it. Let me find it for you. Oh, they took it off the front. Oh, here it is. All right. So, look at this signal. China accuses the United States of deliberately causing panic over rare earth controls. Says it's open to talks. Hey, oh, so what's that mean? Oh, big tough Xi Jinping all of a sudden like, hey, can you back off? Can you back off causing the panic? Can we talk? Did you miss that? Or are you thinking that was doubting President Trump? I'm not signaling anybody out, not to use the pun, but the fact of the matter is what I try to do on this show is show you the information so that you, on your own time, can follow it. And I'm not telling you anything I don't do on my own. That's how I knew it was there. I saw that this morning and went, oh, oh, y'all want to talk, huh? About what? Oh, let me see. What was it that they said they want to talk about? Rare earth. China's Ministry of Commerce accused U.S. of creating panic over Beijing's control on rare earth exports. U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer accused China of trying to control the world's technology supply chains in an interview with CNBC. I was actually going to show you this interview with Scott Bessent, but I was afraid it's going to be over too many people's heads and they're not ready for it. So if you truly are interested in what I just talked about, I can bring that information to you, but never, ever accuse me of doubting Trump. I'm riding hard on Trump. In fact, not only am I riding hard on Trump, I'm pushing assets into what Trump is saying. I'm following his lead. And if the guy says, hey, rare earths where we need to be, and precious metals, and AI, and silver, I'm doing the opposite of what you're doing. You're sitting back going, are you doubting Trump? No, I'm participating with Trump. I'm on that damn field. I'm not in the bleachers. And I advocate for as many people as possible to get out the bleachers and get on the field. You've never had this opportunity in your lifetime. And now you've got people sitting in the bleachers just not understanding what's available to them at a low-cost entry. So when you see stuff like this and you see that China's starting to budge, like, oh, hey, we'll talk, you got to look for the signal. You have to see what the message is. So those of us, sometimes we call them comms. Listen to what he says. He's going to be coming up in 10 minutes or so. And at that point, we'll see what comms he's going to be making today, what he's going to be telling people. Yesterday when he talked, you could hear what was in his voice. He's pissed off that you went for his family and your wife and his. I'm coming for you. This isn't a retribution. It's what's supposed to happen. I don't mean to signal people out like that. Ashley and SB and people say, don't even worry about the chat. But sometimes the chat can be toxic. When there's a group of people who get in the chat and start talking about, oh, you're talking about money. Oh, you're talking about prosperity. Nobody else talks about that. They just let it. You wonder why? See, it's an area of conversation that, one, not a lot of people can talk about. And two, it offends a lot of people, so people stay away from it. And three, they just don't encourage their audience, their family. I talk to you, and God's honest truth, like I talk to Ashley. Ashley, you need to get in this. You need to do some of this. She'll tell you. I know she's not here today, but if she was in the chat, she'd tell you. He says it all the time. And so I try to give you guys information that's different and more valuable than what you hear otherwise. What you do with it is up to you. But thank God I keep seeing people like, yeah, I did this, I did that, I looked into this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how much, yeah. We got a short period of time. These people get in control. This country's toast. Before, let me just check, see if there's been anything else. No, all right. Let me look at some here. What are your thoughts about Argentina? My thoughts about Argentina is I know President Trump, again, watching his move, he really wants to support Javier Milei. He believes in what Javier has done, how he's cut the government, and how he has slimmed the government down, but he's got a big election. So I wouldn't really be looking too much at doing anything financially, currency, or otherwise in Argentina until after that election. After that election, with the $20 billion that President Trump is going to be giving into Argentina, that's going to blow up. And you now know it. You saw it. What did he say yesterday? I support them. I will continue to back them unless they vote the wrong way. And if they vote the wrong way, I'm out. He said it plain as day. Okay, well, he just told me what the game plan is. He just told you what the game plan is. Start researching what's available in Argentina. What's Argentina going to need? What's Argentinian government going to buy under Javier Milei? And then when the election happens, he gets reelected, go. Green light, go. But right now, you got to be waiting, but you got to keep watching. So that's what I think about Javier. Barry, just disregard the negative comments and allow those promoting them to live in the dollar house they choose to. Those of us wanting to prosper, well, in spite of them, yes. Is there a way to get silver at smaller buy-ins? Yes. I believe I had Kevin on a while back, but if you go to the website, you can, depending on what you consider smaller buy-ins, that's the other thing. But you can check their website, Lear, what is it? Lear, here it is. You can go to learberry.com. Go to learberry.com and tell them I sent you. All right, so let me continue here. Change the new chain on my chainsaw. Now I got to go weed eat. Catch the later show. See y'all later. Chainsaw. Let's see here. Let's continue. Thank you. And what do we got here? All right, so I've been to Argentina several times. Wonderful people. I've never been there. I would love to go down there. Look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. Damien just posted. Gold is at 4,300 an ounce. Silver at 54. You should go back and look at some of the earlier shows and see what the numbers were I was telling you about back then. And I'm not rubbing anything in, but that little piece right there, guess how much that's worth? $430. Right here, $430. I have to keep them in this plastic thing so that Robin, when she's in the room cleaning up or something, she doesn't think it's a penny. Because look how it looks like a penny. And meanwhile, this thing here is worth, what's he say? This is $55, $54 right there. And they have friends. Barry, thank you so much for your show. So informative. And the prayer meetings. Yes, I love the prayer meetings. My silver has more than doubled. You go. Let's see here. Apex, in the context, Barry, that you are, in the context, if you are wealthy, you are more able to help the poor. The poor are not necessarily sinning, but if you are poor, you need help instead of What? Instead of helping. All right, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that, but there's a couple problems with what you said that I don't understand. Because the first part of your comment, if you are wealthy, how do you define wealthy? See, it's a word that's used quite a bit. And the word poor is used quite a bit. How do you define that? Some people would consider, I don't know, XYZ person wealthy. If you ask XYZ person, they're like, no, I'm not wealthy. How do you define it? You see, it's one of those things where it's like defined from afar. If you're driving a 1985 Pinto, if they made them back then, and you pull up next to somebody who's got a, I don't know, a Jag fresh off the showroom, are they wealthy? You have no idea. I can tell you from owning property in the hood and seeing people on Section 8 drive stuff you wouldn't believe and wear clothes you would never buy. And they weren't wealthy. That's what we have to get away from. We have to get away from definitions and labels based upon our own ideology. What you consider wealthy may indeed be a limitation upon what your goals are. Now, I know that sounds a little bit deep, but if you think somebody who makes $200,000 a year is wealthy, then you will think that that's something you can't do. Oh man, that guy's wealthy. What's he do? He makes 200 grand a year. Let me put that in context. What if that guy who makes $200,000 a year, you looked at him and just said, he's doing okay. He's not wealthy yet. Maybe that's where you can look and go, yeah, I can do that. I can get there. See, wealthy almost becomes a position when you use that word of like, I'm never going to be Jeff Bezos wealthy. That's wealthy. I'm never going to be Mark Zuckerberg wealthy. But then again, you could be like some guy named Jethro or Jed, shoot up something in a backyard and all of a sudden oil sprouts and look right there, you're a millionaire. Who knows? Who knows? Don't worry about what other people are at. You ever get in a car with somebody who drives aggressively and they see somebody go speed past them and I got to catch up. Well, guess what? If you were already driving as fast as you could, legally and safely, there's no need for you to catch up. You're getting where you need to get to, just keep going. Don't worry about how fast, how rich, how wealthy somebody else is. You do you. You're going to end up at the same exit in a little while. They may get there a few minutes ahead of you, but you're going to get there. The bottom line is you got to drive. And you got to drive safely. You can't get any accidents, losses. But you can't worry about risk, otherwise you'd never get on the highway. So you got to get on the highway, you got to drive, but you only need to drive as fast and as safe as you can handle. Don't worry about the guy in the Maserati flying past you. It's not what's important. What's important is how you get there. And then all of a sudden, you get to the stoplight and you're like, hey, even though you have a Maserati, I did well. And it's a whole different outlook on things. And I didn't mean to go crazy in that regard, but it's just one of the things that my dad taught me. That's actually a story he told me. Because one time we were at a traffic light, or on the highway rather, and this guy zoomed past us in a vet. I mean, he was flying. And I was like, Dad, speed up. You can't let him get ahead of you like that. He looked at me, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, you don't know where he's going. And worse, you don't know where he's been. So if you don't know where he's going and where he's been, why am I keeping up with him? I went, oh. Yeah, I don't know where he's going. I don't know where he's been. I.e., I don't know how he got to where he is, and I don't know what his strategy is to get where he's going. What's your strategy? I'm going to go 70 miles an hour and get to the next exit and get off. Oh, all right. Think about it that way. Don't chase other people's measurement. Measure yourself. All right, so Trump is about to make an announcement, and when he does, I'm looking still at the courthouse where Bolton, I think I'm going to have to switch feeds from the courthouse to where John Bolton, from Bolton to the White House. So let's continue with what I had to show you. And I don't mean to offend anybody. People sometimes get offended, but I know real estate. I know certain things. Somebody asked me about XRP. I don't know crap about XRP. See, that's another thing. Listen to people who know what they're talking about. If you ask me about XRP, I'm like, I have no idea. I know BLS is in here. He knows XRP. I don't know anything about it. Never gotten to it. Don't know. Not going to pretend that I know. That's the surest way to go down the tubes, is listen to somebody else who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. But in any event, speaking of people not knowing what they're talking about,
people are calling this protest the No King's Day because Trump thinks he's a fucking king. And, he's not. He's barely a president. In fact, guess what? I'm going to say something that's going to get me in trouble. I don't think he won in a free and fair election. You heard me. I'm coming out and saying it myself. I don't care if that means I look crazy, because Elon Musk, who's this other Nazi guy running around town who owns X, and a lot of people think he's a genius, but he's not. He's like a fake genius. Anyway, he's a professional Nazi, in my humble opinion.
I told you these people are crazy. I told you by the end of the show, you're going to realize these people bat poop crazy. I don't know if she's being paid to say this stuff, but in any event, people are listening to this crap on a daily basis. And they worry about disinformation and misinformation, except for when they're dishing out the disinformation and misinformation.
And he's good friends with Trump. And at one point, I don't know if you remember, but he was giving out $1 million checks to people if they would vote for Trump. That's illegal. It's unconstitutional and illegal. So that was...
Except that's not what he did. He was giving people checks to register to vote, you moron. Again, misinformation and disinformation is based upon the people who say it.
And the fact that Trump won all 7 swing states, which has never happened in the history of the U.S., makes it all very suspicious to me. So there, I said it.
It makes it suspicious to these people because we are almost 10 months removed from President Trump being inaugurated, and they still can't believe it. I love the fact that he's got these people in such a feverish insanity that they still can't believe that he won. And Kamala Harris is out there saying she was the best candidate ever. They still can't fathom people chose this guy? And guess what? If he could, or finds a way to run again, yes, people would pick him again. Although I think J.D. Vance is going to do just fine. They can't accept it. What you're seeing is the full collapse of the Democrat Party. What you are seeing is the manic insanity of realizing everything they hold dear is burning up in front of them. There is no more Democrat Party. When I haven't even got to the town hall yet. There's so much more to go.
Now you can Black respond. Women cannot be racist to white women. Are you kidding me?
Sorry?
That makes no sense.
Sorry?
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand?
I'm going to show you the irony of what she's saying if you haven't heard it already, as she always said it. Black women can't be racist to white women. Black women can't be racist to white women.
Yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
they can.
To understand that.
Oh, yes, they can.
Very much
and you've been racist to me.
That's very much impossible.
You've been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter. Yeah.
How am I racist to you? I'm black. I can't be racist to you.
You call me a race baiter with no evidence.
To me.
When have I been a race baiter?
You can be racist to me.
When have I been a race baiter?
But I'm a powerhouse.
Tell me when I've been a race baiter.
I'm a powerhouse.
I've got an idea. mouth did you hit that woman?
Right, let me show you, baby. That ain't no woman. It's a man.
Well, you may be a powerhouse.
Understand something.
You may be a
powerhouse.
You may be a powerhouse.
Okay.
When have I been erased?
Did you get it? Did you understand where I was going with that? The racist woman who says she can't be racist to a white woman ain't a woman.
I want to admit that.
When have I been a race baiter?
Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
Okay.
This is absurd.
No, hang on, tell me.
Honey.
Blossom, give me one example of me race baiting. Blossom, go.
I'm here. At this point, I'm just here to talk about trans women in sports. I said what I said.
So you don't have anything, do you?
Repeat anything.
You called me a race baiter.
They got nothing. Oh my goodness. This is the Democrat Party. This is what they've.
So I think the time is long overdue for us to be clear that healthcare is a human right for all, including, by the way, the undocumented in this country.
Then why is the government shut down? Why are you saying that? Why are you telling everybody the Republicans are not, they're not telling the truth? We don't want to push for, you pay health care for everybody. Yeah, you do. I had to double check that cut and make sure it wasn't AI and that it wasn't really old. That was what he said a couple of days ago. I don't think he realized it, or at some point maybe he just said, I don't care. Now I'm going to let the cat out the bag, and we're going to just tell you what we really want. We're going to try and ram having newcomers get free health care from you, whether you like it or not. And I was dumbfounded. I was absolutely dumbfounded that now they ripped off the mask and they're showing you who they really are. If you want to tell your friends anymore that this is who they are, now it's out there. It wasn't a lie. It was never a lie. These people want newcomers to get free health care on your back. And they're willing to shut down the entirety of the United States government to get these people their free stuff. And these Republicans better not cave. These Republicans better stand strong. I don't care if it stays closed for 6 flipping months. Stand strong. This is what they want to do to the country, and now they're openly telling you. And what was really interesting is CNN decides to hold a town hall with the people who want to light the match on America. And at least it's out there now.
Looking at live pictures of the nation's capital, which is at a standstill tonight as the country hits day 15 of the government shutdown. Welcome to CNN's Town Hall with Independent Senator Bernie Sanders and Democratic Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm Caitlin Collins, and tonight, as the shutdown enters its third week, there are still no signs of a deal here in Washington. Republican Speaker Mike Johnson is warning that this could be one of the longest shutdowns in history. Democrats say they won't budge without addressing the rising cost of health care. But caught in the middle are the American people, including more than 1 million federal workers who are going without pay this evening. Two of the nation's most prominent leaders on the left are here to take our questions tonight about their strategy and what it will take to reopen the government. We also invited prominent Republicans to participate in a town hall, including the Senate Majority Leader, the House Speaker, and the Vice President. Those invitations stand, and we hope that those leaders will join us. To find our
Why? Why would any Republican come on and play in this circus? They don't want to be in this sandbox. Now, notice what she said. Democrat leaders. And that should put a chill, not up your spine. You should just go ahead and laugh. It should put a chill on the spine of Democrats. This is your leadership. Your leaders, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Bernie Sanders, and AOC. Those are your leaders. Reason why I wanted to show this is because, one, it's funny, but number two, it actually could be a nightmare. If you're not watching exactly what these people are saying and realizing how insane they are, because I thought it was insane before, some of the stuff they say during this thing here is taking insanity to a whole nother level. You will realize, number one, why is AOC even on that stage? She is a House member. She's not a leader. I could see if you put Hakeem Jeffries up there. But she's just another person in the House. And they're calling her a leader who a couple of years ago was trying her best to make money making gin and tonics. I'm not disparaging bartenders. What I'm saying is she has no real experience in anything. She went from pouring drinks to being a House member and has done nothing other than put stuff up on Instagram and X in regards to furthering people's lives. Nothing. Well, wait, she did chase away Amazon that was going to pay $100,000 a piece for jobs. She chased them out of her district. But other than that, she hasn't done anything. And she's considered a leader. And as you watch this with me while we wait for President Trump to come out, let me show you the leadership.
Questioners tonight, we reached out to political and business groups, universities, and other civic organizations. Our questioners are Democrats, Republicans, and independents, some of whom are federal workers here in their personal capacity. They have asked that their party affiliation not be disclosed. Tonight's participants will be asking their own questions, selected by CNN to cover a variety of topics. You might see them holding a piece of paper that has their question on it. It's a question they wrote, and it has not been edited in any way by CNN. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Thank you, Senator. And also Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York. Thank you so much. It's great to have you here. And of course, it's so great to have both of you here. We have so many audience questions tonight, really good ones. And Senator Sanders, just in terms of how long this shutdown has gone on, you and I have spoken multiple times during this, but we're now on the 15th day. The 9th vote to reopen the government failed. Do you think Speaker Johnson is right when he says that this could be one of the longest government shutdowns in U.S. history?
No. I think the Republicans are catching on that you can't throw 15 million Americans off of the health care they have. And studies indicate that when you do that, some 50,000 Americans a year will die unnecessarily. And then on top of that, just in Vermont today, Caitlin.
Do you remember when President Trump was doing debates or speeches and they would have the person there, right there, doing real-time fact-checking? Somehow they don't do that anymore. They let these, the numbers just fly out. 15 gazillion and 50 million zillion people are going to lose health care. Why would 15 million people lose health care? Again, they're talking about Obamacare, which has never been self-sufficient and can't exist on its own. The only way that Obamacare can exist is with subsidies where the government, you and me, are paying for other people. Now, I understand people need health care, but that's even a misnomer. They need insurance. Health care is like, what can your doctor do for you? Insurance is, how is that doctor going to get paid? Why does our doctor charge you $50 for an aspirin when you get the bill, when an aspirin costs probably 7 or 8, 9 cents? That's not healthcare. That's a ripoff. The Democrats don't want people to understand the difference with a marketplace and understanding free enterprise so that people can pick the most viable insurance that they can afford. Depending on your age, your physical makeup, what you weigh, whether you smoke or something, it's not hard to get insurance that you can afford. But that's not what they're talking about. I had my former life working for Prudential and Prudential Beige. I can get you insurance. You can get coverage, especially based on coverage you need. You're a single kid. You're 27, 28 years old. And you need insurance. More than likely, you are not going to need certain coverages at that age. So you say, what would you like? I'd like to have my prescriptions covered and emergency rooms and maybe an annual checkup. And then I'll pay like a 70-30, 60-40 hospitalization plan because I'm probably never going to go to a hospital. See, the bulk of the serious money that's paid, that's what we need to figure out, how that money, somebody goes into a hospital, ends up being a $100,000 bill. They don't look at that. No one is talking about, hey, can we talk to the doctors? Can we talk to the hospital associations and see, how are they charging so much for this, and this? But they never discuss that. They all want it on the front end that you got to pay for.
People in my state and all over this country are beginning to receive notices from insurance companies about what their new premiums will be if we do not stop what Trump is doing. In my state of Vermont, there are people today who receive notices that their premiums are going to quadruple. Some less, 3 times. In my state of Vermont, and again, this is true in many parts of the country, middle-class families will be paying $50,000 a year for health care. Anyone think?
Bull crap. If you're paying $50,000 a year for a health plan or health coverage, you're picking the wrong coverage. That is an absolute lie. You can tell me in the chat if I'm wrong. You tell me who's paying $50,000 a year for health coverage.
That's sane? It's not. Who can afford that? Republicans are catching on. They're playing a losing hand. They are going to come to the table finally and address the healthcare crisis that they've created.
Okay, so you think Republicans will come to the table sooner rather than later. The White House has not indicated as much, and today the budget director, Russ Vought, said that north of 10,000 federal workers could be laid off during this government shutdown. Does that make Democrats rethink their strategy at all?
I don't think so. I think that what Russ Vought just announced today in the laying off of federal workers, we learned today a judge has put a temporary restraining order because it is likely illegal what he and the Trump administration is doing. The problem is that this administration, the Trump administration, folks like Russ Vought, they think that destroying our health care, making sure that housing is too expensive to live in,
I'm sorry. How is Russ Vought making housing too expensive to live in? There's a stretch. Oh, yeah, the director of OMB is making housing too expensive to live in. All right, let me tell you, since I've been in real estate for a long time, housing is not too expensive to live in. It's never been too expensive to live in. You see, because what you're saying is 2 things. 1, you can't afford to live there. 2, you don't want to live where you can afford. That's how it works. As I've said many times, as I've talked about real estate, and I'll do a real estate show tonight I'll probably do some real estate. It's a supply and demand thing. Right now, here's the easiest way I can describe it to you. Before the season began, there was such hope about the Miami Dolphins that a ticket was very expensive to get. And here we are 7 weeks into the season and they suck. And now all of a sudden, the demand for those tickets has plummeted. You can probably get a ticket to a Miami Dolphins game for like $25-30. Before the season, they were probably $200-300. It's the exact same thing in real estate. I've done it before. I've shown you. There are homes that you can live in that are under $200,000 to buy. Unfortunately, what people don't understand, and not everybody is supposed to own a home. You have to get to that position to own a home. You have to earn the ability to own a home. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make housing the same as they're trying to make insurance. They're trying to make housing an absolute right. And that's not the case with any commodity. You don't deserve gold. You don't deserve silver. You don't deserve that house. You deserve what you can afford. And they never address the fact that vocationally so many people who can't afford something don't know how to elevate their income. So yes, it's too expensive because I can't live there. You got to shop over here. Many people would probably like to go to Brooks Brothers for clothing, but they can't afford it. Doesn't mean you can't shop at Target. It's not the same thing, but you can buy some stuff at Target and look decent. It's not Brooks Brothers. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about making people believe you deserve it. You heard Zoran Mondami, you deserve it. That's what they want.
Backing up the costs of our groceries, they think all of this is about hurting Democrats. What they are doing is hurting Americans, and they are hurting this country. And if Mike Johnson wants to say that this shutdown is going to last a long time, it is because he is choosing to punish the American people, and we cannot stand for it, and we cannot allow it. And we also cannot enable it by acquiescing and enabling the behavior of bullies. So it ends today.
So we
guess it didn't, because do I have that one? No. They voted again today and they shot it down. It's like, no, we're not going to reopen the government. All right. I guess it doesn't end today. I don't think Caitlin is going to, well, she may ask, but it's very simple. The government would be open right now. Just do the continuing resolution. All of this circus means absolutely nothing, including Saturday's soiree out there, because it doesn't matter. Just sign the continuing resolution and everything's fine. Not enough people understand that.
I could just add to something Alexandria said.
Go ahead, Senator.
This is the cynicism of the Speaker of the House. Where are your Republican colleagues tonight? They're back here in Washington negotiating?
That's an excellent question, Bernie. Right now, House Democrats are in Washington, D.C. Senate Democrats are in Washington, D.C. Even Senate Republicans, I believe, are still in Washington, D.C. The only people who are not in Washington, D.C. are the over 200 elected Republicans in the House of Representatives. Because
why is that, you say to yourself? You probably say to yourself, why are all the House Republicans not there? Because they already did their job. They already they didn't even mention that, did they? Didn't even say a word. The reason why it's in the Senate is because the House already did their vote. They're done. They're just waiting. They've already done all the prep work. They've given it to the Senate. The Senate has to keep taking votes. They don't explain that. I'm telling you, so now you know that's another BS argument. Oh, they're not here. Well, what do you want us to do if we came back? We've already done it. There is nothing pending in the House. But Caitlin never says a word. She doesn't say to them, hey, listen, they already passed the bill. The House already did their work. What would you like them to do?
Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, refuses to call the House in session. He refuses to also seat Adelita Grijalva because they want to prevent the 218th signature on release of the Epstein files as well.
Can I ask you on that? Because Speaker Johnson was asked about that today, and he said it has nothing to do with that. It's so she can have all the pomp and circumstance that is afforded to most members when they're sworn in. You don't believe that?
No, Mike Johnson.
I don't care what she believes. The truth of the matter is, I don't got to do anything you say. I don't work for AOC. So, CNN, if this is what you're going to be out here parading, that these people are the leaders of the Democrat Party, at least you could try to urge them to talk about what really matters and what's true. So, be afraid, because if this is the future of our country, we are doomed.
Has sworn in several members, Republican members, in pro forma sessions. He understands that the importance of this country, the importance of representation, is not about pomp and circumstance. And in fact, it's not just about Representative Grijalva. It's about the over 700,000 people in the state of Arizona, veterans, seniors, teachers, students, who do not have anyone to call in an emergency because their elected representative that
I've never called anyone in the House of Representatives if I have an emergency. What in the hell is she talking about? Oh, yeah, Congressman Rubio, Congressman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Yeah, someone just broke into my house. What the hell are you calling me for? I'm supposed to call you if I have an emergency. No, sir, hang up and call 911. Oh, don't call it. What is she talking about? They have no one to call if there's an emergency. There's only 3 numbers they have to remember. 911. I'm pretty sure every Democrat could at least remember that. 911. Why in the hell are they going to have to call a congressman if there's an emergency?
Has been certified at municipal, state, and the federal level with federal acknowledgement. He refuses to seat a duly elected official here in the House of Representatives.
So we have a lot of questions tonight for people who are here in Washington. And Representative Ocasio-Cortez, this first question is for you. This is Alicia Dulford, who is from Camp Springs, Maryland, and is a TSA officer who's active in her local federal employees union. Thank you so much for being here. What's your question?
Thank you for having me. As the month November approaches, many of us are facing serious hardships as we enter week 3 of the shutdown. Some are at risk of eviction or mortgage default, and local rent.
If you are at risk for an eviction, it happened a long time before the last couple of weeks. See, this is another one of these, I gotta believe it's a staged question, because anybody, if you've ever been involved in real estate or unfortunately been on the other side of an eviction, it doesn't happen like tomorrow. You have to have already been behind for quite some time. Down here in Florida, more than likely you're already behind 30, 45 days. At which point they'll put a notice on your door and says you got to do this and do that. And if you don't do this and do that, 8 to 10 days later, then they can file an eviction. So you're talking at least 40, 45 days. As far as I know, the government's been shut down for 14. What in the hell is this woman talking about? And how did CNN not say, wait a second, many of us are facing evictions? Wait, let me just get that question from the start again. Did she just say many of us? Hold on, let's listen.
As we enter week 3 of the shutdown, some are at risk of eviction or mortgage default, and local.
How can you be at risk of an eviction? How can you be at risk as mortgage default? You know, one of the things that I'm pretty sure if you called your mortgage company and said, I'm sorry, but I am furloughed, I am laid off right now from the government during the government shutdown, they will probably say, okay, we understand. Just keep in contact with us, let it know. Can you do anything? Can you send us a couple $100 to, in good faith? Something? You put something down on that? You're just like, hey, there's no, we can't do it. The government shut down. Well, let me just explain to you a little bit about mortgages. And mortgages, usually when you take out a mortgage, there's a mortgage reserve. Sometimes they will make sure that you have a couple months in the bank just so they can give you the mortgage. I hate when people spin stuff as if to try and tell or influence people as to what something is happening. And the first question out the box is complete asinine BS. Some of us are at risk for eviction. Why? Oh, did you not pay your rent in, July? Did you not pay your rent in August? How is it on October 15th, when the government just got shut down on October 1st, all of a sudden you have a risk of eviction?
Rental companies and lenders have become silent or refused to work with employees presenting DHS debt letters. What protections or emergency actions can be taken to prevent these workers and their families from losing their homes during this time?
Now, I haven't heard this answer. But I can tell you, there is no emergency action that she can take that's not going to put you further in debt. See, we went through this once, and it just reminds me so much. We went through this with the COVID thing. Remember what they tried to do with COVID? And they put a moratorium on evictions. Oh, you can't evict somebody. And then they kept extending it, and they kept extending it. And then what happened? You see, people at that point, when they got back to work, and they should have been, getting ready to pay rent, the moratorium got lifted, and all of a sudden, the rent didn't go away. It wasn't abated. It compiled. And so it went away. Hey, it's 5 months later, and there's no more jabademic, and we're going to lift the moratorium, and now you owe 5 months of rent. Huh? 5 months. 6 months. You ain't got it, do you? No. Let's come to some arrangement here. Or you got to go. And so looking for big government is the wrong way to go. You should be talking to a housing specialist. She can't do anything for you despite what comes out of her mouth.
Well, thank you so much for your question. And particularly as a TSA employee, I represent LaGuardia Airport. And so yes. I know very, very well all the hard work that you all do and put in. And,
yes, ma'am.
And you all deserve a dignified workplace. You deserve a safe workplace. And you deserve the paycheck that you are working for. What I believe the best thing that we can do.
That's another thing there. You deserve the paycheck that you're working for. So if you're furloughed or whatever, there are some agencies that are going to get back pay. And a smart person would say, when this thing ends, I'm going to get 5 or 6 weeks pay. What are you going to do with that 5 or 6 weeks pay? Well, number one should be your landlord that you haven't paid. But that's not what they do. They take that lump sum payment and they go out and do some crazy stuff with it. When you could think of that as a savings account.
Is to reopen the government right now and to ensure and to also call on our representatives and put pressure on individuals like the Speaker of the House to actually pick up the phone. The problem here is not that there is not even that there's a disagreement. It's that the Speaker of the House and the Trump administration refuses to even have a negotiation.
That's your problem. I've said that so many times. You're not in a position to have a negotiation. That's why they're on television. They're begging for a negotiation. I don't have to negotiate with you. When you think you're sitting at a negotiation and you have nothing, you have no hand, nothing, you have no control, no leverage whatsoever, and you keep asking for negotiation, honey, there is nothing to negotiate. The only thing that is going to happen is that you guys come in and vote for this continuing resolution. That's it. There's nothing else to negotiate. And so the reason why they're on television, the reason why they're making speeches, the reason why they're out there trying to do the whole No Kings protest thing is try to make them negotiate. And I'm telling you, they better stand hard. Don't negotiate at all. There is nothing to negotiate. Put your doggone hands up and vote for this, or else. Period. It's the only bus. There's no other buses coming. But this is what they're trying to do. You just pick up the phone and negotiate. I got nothing to say to you. Hey, I've got AOC on line 1. Put it in voicemail. I got nothing to say to you. And if you don't realize that, that's why they're out here. This isn't leadership. Leadership isn't begging. That's one of the things I took from this meeting and I've taken from the Democrats the entire time. This is not leadership. Leadership is sign this thing and let's get to the table and figure out what we got to do. You are in no position to tell me how we are going to act. You're talking to President Trump. The guy knows he doesn't care. He sat through these kind of negotiations. I'm sure there's been many times from steel workers to concrete people who have tried to pin this guy against the wall. I'm like, no, this is the deal. It's on the table. Take it or leave it.
Refuse to even pick up the phone and talk about this. And so I do not want us to start to agree with what Mike Johnson is saying and to have them preview for us and normalize the idea that
that is a negotiations ploy. That you just said you want to negotiate, but you don't want him to negotiate. You don't want him to take a position. You don't want him to let you know or dictate what's going on. Honey, I'm not. Well, I do know, because all you used to do is make drinks. You're way over your head.
Everyone's just going to miss a paycheck. That 1 million federal workers are just going to go without that, and to just warn that in advance and to have us accept that. This is not acceptable. This is not normal. And what is normal is for us to negotiate. When one party wants the votes of another party, you negotiate, you come to a compromise, and you pass a bill.
That, my friends, shows you they've already lost. When you're trying to do a public shaming, you're not negotiating. You're done. You're toast. You're begging. You are on television, on national television, begging for someone to give you some relevance. Nobody cares what you have to say, so you're begging, please call me. Please, please call me. Please, please call me. That's not a negotiation. You never want to sit across from the person on the other table who knows they got you. Whether it's buying a car, whether it's buying a house, whether it's talking to an ex-wife, you never want them to think that you have no alternatives. Because right now, every single one of you could be Donald Trump. And you could say, what are you offering me? That's all I'd ask you. What are you offering me? Because you're asking me to come to the table and, quote, negotiate. What are you offering me? See, that's not the thing. They haven't said anything, and I watched the whole thing just about, and I'm like, you haven't told the other side what you want to give them. A negotiation means something happens both ways. That's why she doesn't realize she's not in negotiation, because they're not even talking to her. You got nothing I want. Nothing. Well, you want my other votes? No, I don't really care if we keep the government closed or not. I don't know if you've ever been in a negotiation where you were trying to acquire something, whether it's a vote, whatever, and the other person just sits there because you haven't given them any reason to respond. As a leader, she would say, I know the Republicans are looking for this and this. We will sign an agreement. We will actually put a clause that no state anywhere in the country, none of the funding would ever go to give any newcomer health insurance. Okay. We will sign an agreement that next November we will not allow mail-in voting. Okay. Now you're whetting my appetite. Now you're going to make me sit up in my chair. Oh, you're willing to put that on the table. If you sign this, we will talk about negating mail-in voting. That's leadership. But just saying you need to come talk to me, why? I'm fishing. I'm combing my hair. I'm getting my nails done. You're not giving me anything, honey. She doesn't know how to negotiate. Let you tell me if you heard her say there, or anywhere, if you've heard the Democrats are offering something to the Republicans.
Is Schoolhouse Rock, and that is how things should be. So I thank you for that, and I want to make sure that we, of course, pass a bevy of federal protections for workers, but we don't want them to be necessary in the first place.
Yeah, and Senator Sanders, on that front, on government shutdowns before, obviously you've said before that you believe shutting down the government is a serious and dangerous action. You said that we must do everything possible to prevent it. What would you say to people who are missing their paychecks about why it's worth it now?
Well, let me just, first of all, thank you very much for your service, and we're going to do everything we can and move as quickly as we can to make sure you get your paychecks. But I want to just back up a little bit to discuss how we got to where we are. Because what Alexandria was just saying is, in the House, majority rules, they pass the budget. In the Senate, not quite the case. It needs 60 votes, okay? That's been going on for a very long time. And the reason for the 60 votes is to encourage bipartisan negotiations, all right? Republicans have 53 people in their caucus. Democrats, including independents, have 47.
You got to talk. This time, for the first time in history, what Republicans are saying, yeah, we don't have 60 votes. We're not talking to you. Our way or the highway. And
That Bernie, you're 100% right. This is it. Unless you come to the table with something that piques my interest, let me dip my beak in something from The Godfather. You're not offering me anything. Don't call me. Don't bother me. I got nothing to say to you. Why is it that the Democrats aren't offering anything? Because if you want to talk, what are you going to talk about? See, that's the other thing is there's nothing to discuss. If there was something to discuss, they'd already be talking about it. We'd already know. So what is it that we don't know? Is there something that you would be willing to offer that would get me to want to have a discussion with you? It's very simple. Nobody seems to want to ask that question. Hey, Bernie, what would you give the Republicans? Just sit back. And no, just tell me sweeten the pie. Make me want to negotiate with you. They're not doing that.
Saying, sorry, you got to sit down and talk to us. You got to deal with the healthcare crisis in this country.
Well, and they have both, Republicans have argued that Democrats should reopen the government and then they'll negotiate. Where do you both stand on that prospect?
I don't know. Based on their history, they've had months and months. This is not a new thing.
Months and months. Checking the calendar. It's October. It's been 9 months. You've been in government for what, 95 years? You went to high school with Moses or something, and you've done nothing. Nothing. The reason why we're in this situation, so the true reason, is because the Democrats and some of the Republicans won't get to a position where they actually balance the budget. And so they have to keep doing these continuing resolutions and kick the can down. Do you realize this? This is the funniest thing about this entire government shutdown. The most hilarious thing is everything they're arguing about right now is only for a 7-week period. And then at the end of that 7-week period, they got to do it all over again or it shuts down again. That's why. And Bernie, you've been here for 95 and a half years. Why don't you go and do a balanced budget? We're going to take because nothing ever gets taken out, so we just get a continuing resolution. Be honest with people. Understand how this is supposed to work and realize that you guys haven't been doing your job well before President Trump showed up.
Since Trump's big, beautiful bill was passed, we knew this was happening. They've refused to negotiate. And anyone thinks that tomorrow they'll suddenly start negotiating, I think is smoking what is illegal in many states.
Okay. On that front, let's get to our next question from the audience. Senator Sanders, this one's for you. This is Jeffrey Katz, who is a tax attorney from Potomac, Maryland, who says he's a Democrat who voted for President Trump in the last election. Jeffrey, what's your question?
Senator Sanders, you've said 50,000 people could die from ACA subsidy cuts. But right now, 1.4 million federal workers aren't getting paid. How do you justify choosing a fight over subsidies?
All right, so it looks like President Trump is about to come up. They're getting the cameras focused. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's go ahead and let me refresh. Wait a second here. Give me a second.
The phone call with President Putin was a very good call, I think. Good. Are you ready?
Yeah, we're ready. We've been ready.
Thank you very much. This is very exciting, what we're doing. I want to thank everybody for being here, and I want to thank this group of people. They're incredible people. We just had a call, as you know, with President Putin. I thought it was a very good call, so we'll talk about it maybe later. But it went very well. We're here today to announce a historic victory for American women, mothers, and families. With the actions I will outline this afternoon, will dramatically slash the cost of IVF and the treatment and many of the most common fertility drugs for countless millions of Americans. Prices are going way down, way, way down. I want to thank Libby Horn, who is the Senior Vice President of Fertility of EMD Serrano. So I want to thank you. Let's see here. That's what I thought. I thought it was you. Thank you, Libby, very much. And let me also thank the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., whose wife destroyed the people on The View yesterday. I have to say that. I'm not going to ever get into an argument with her. And you've decided, you learned that a long time ago, right? She did a great job, actually. Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thank you, Howard. Secretary of Labor, Lori Chavez de Rima. Thanks, Lori. Howard, thanks. CMS Administrator, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who's a fantastic guy, and he's done really well. FDA Commissioner Marty McCary. Thank you, Marty. Senator Katie Britt, who got me started with this whole thing when she called up to say there was a bad ruling by a judge, right? We got to do something, sir, and we did it very quickly. Probably in 24 hours it was done. Congressman Richard Hudson, a great guy, and his wife Renee. Richard, hi, Richard. And Advocate Samantha Bush, who's a very respected person. For years, American couples struggling with infertility have faced crushing costs in their quest to start a family, and IVF is among the most expensive treatments of all. A single round of IVF in the United States can cost up to $25,000, can actually go a lot higher than that, and many couples require multiple rounds for a successful pregnancy. A major reason for these high prices is the excessive cost of the drugs involved. The number one fertility drug used in IVF is currently 700% more expensive in the United States than the rest of the world. And, you know, we're ending all of that. It's called favored nations, and we're ending it, and we're ending it pretty fast. Nobody thought we'd be able to do it, and we've done it. Drugs are going to come down. Drug prices are coming down 400%, 200%, 600%, numbers that nobody's ever seen before. Great for Medicare, Medicaid, even Social Security. Great for everything, I think, Dr. Oz. So that's something that's, to me, it's very exciting. I'm bugging him and Bobby all the time. How are we doing with that? And we're doing really good, Bobby. Right? It's really going good. Other countries are agreeing to it, because if they don't, we put tariffs on them, and then they agree. So it's amazing. It's amazing how that worked out. But as an example, in London, you'd buy a certain drug for $130, and even less than that, I guess, $88 as of a count a month ago. And in New York, you pay $1,300 for the same thing. So now we're going to be paying, instead of $1,300, you'll be paying about $150. And they'll be paying $150 too. We're going to pay the same thing. Favored nations. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And we've been ripped off by the whole world for a long period of time. One of the most popular fertility drug regimens costs over $5,000 per cycle, as an example. Wow. Largely as a result of these unsustainable prices, 70% of the employers do not offer insurance that covers IVF. Therefore, most couples with fertility challenges are paying these costs entirely out of their own pockets, which is not really possible to do. Oh, look who we have. Look at that, the great Maria Bartiromo. I didn't know. Did you get put into the regular pool pack? That's very good. Yeah, that's good. Nice to see you. I'm doing an interview with her in a little while. In the Trump administration, we want to make it easier for all couples to have babies, raise children, and start the families they've always dreamed about. That's why today I'm pleased to announce that after extensive negotiations, EMD Serrano, the largest fertility drug manufacturer in the world, has agreed to provide massive discounts to all fertility drugs they sell in the United States, including the most popular drug of all, the IVF drug Gonal-F. So it's Gonal-F. Is that a proper pronunciation? Very Close enough, right? Gonal-F. As part of this agreement, EMD Serrano will list their fertility drugs online at trumprx.gov at very, very heavily reduced prices, prices that you won't even believe. And ultimately, that's because of the favored nations. In addition, the FDA will be working with the company to expedite review and approval of another common fertility IVF drug, and currently it's selling in Europe. It's Pergoveris. And that's a sounding nice name. Pergoveris. Why can't you name them nice, simple names? Nice, easy names. Doesn't matter. If it works, that's all we care about, right? Upon approval, this drug would directly compete against a much more expensive option that currently has a monopoly in the American market, and this will bring down costs very significantly. And the other one's going to have to come down also. Finally, EMD Serrano has agreed that all future drugs and everything that it develops and sells in the United States will be offset at most favored nation prices. I've been after this for a long time. And we started the process in the last administration, and then we had a little thing called COVID that came up. We had to focus on that, did a good job on that, too. And they'll bring a significant portion of their drug manufacturing back to the United States. So they're going to bring it largely back into the United States, and that's for a lot of reasons, but primarily because of the election result, November 5th, and maybe most importantly because of the tariffs, because if they do it here, there are no tariffs. So we're going to be very close. I think by the end of this year, we're going to be very close to $20 trillion in investment. As an example, the Biden administration had less than $1 trillion, substantially less than $1 trillion for 4 years, Maria. Can you imagine? 4 years, less than one. We're going to break $20 trillion of investment, and we're already over $17 trillion. And that's in 8 months. Can you believe that? And he was at less than $1 trillion. And in addition to that, he had open borders, allowing millions of people to pour in. What an administration that was. Worst president in history, by far. As a result of these actions, the per-cycle cost of drugs used in IVF will fall by an estimated 73% for American consumers, and the numbers are going to actually be very substantially higher as time goes by when it really kicks in. For most of, I mean, think of those numbers. You know, I told the story last time because we were with Pfizer, and Pfizer's doing something very similar. But I told them that my first term, I was so proud of myself because I was the first president in 28 years where drug prices went down for the year. And you know what they went down? 1/8 of 1%. But I was so 1/8 of 1%. Now I'm getting them down, Maria, 500, 600, 800%. In some cases, even more than that. It's hard to believe. But I was proud. I said, oh, wow, I'm the first one. 1/8 of 1%. And I was proud of that. Now I realized, and I called a news conference. Some of you were at that news conference, actually. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. We've gone down by 1/8 of 1%. And now we're going down 500, 600, 700, 800%, Richard. So it's really something. For most administrations and all of the people involved in this kind of thing, this action would be a crowning achievement of their agenda for fertility health. But for us, it's really just the beginning. It's just the start. It's one of many things we're doing. Today, we're also taking historic steps to vastly expand access to insurance coverage for fertility care, including IVF, something that, as you know, was not covered. Effective immediately, for the first time ever, we will make it legal for companies to offer supplemental insurance plans specifically for fertility. That's never been done before. We're signing it in today with what we sign. Americans will be able to opt in to specialized coverage just as they get vision and dental insurance. They're going to get fertility insurance for the first time. So I don't know. I don't know how well these things are covered. I see the Democrats like to take credit for all of the things we do. We do the things and they take the credit. But I figure if you do enough of these, eventually people are going to figure it out. The Democrats have done nothing. This will make all fertility care, including IVF, far more affordable and accessible. And by providing coverage at every step of the way, it will reduce the number of people who ultimately need to resort to IVF because couples will be able to identify and address problems early. The result will be healthier pregnancies, healthier babies, and many more beautiful American children. It's a big factor. It's a big deal. I'm asking all employers to make these new fertility benefit options available to their employees immediately. The initiatives I've just announced are the boldest and most significant actions ever taken by any president to bring the miracle of life into more American homes. And I will say Katie was great. As you know, she's a great senator from Alabama. She's the first one that told me about this. I had not known too much about it, and we worked very rapidly together, didn't we, though?
Mr. President, you say
we had everything passed, and Alabama then took care of it and passed it. Within a week, everything was done. Really, it was something. So I want to thank Katie, Britt. There's no deeper happiness and joy of raising children, and now millions of Americans struggling with infertility will have a new chance to share the greatest experience of them all. So I'd like to thank all of the people that are here, and I think we'll start with Dr. Oz and Ms. Horn. We'll go through the list and we'll listen. And yesterday I did this, and I stood for about an hour and a half as people spoke. And I said, this time I'm sitting right there, and I'm going to watch you. I stood for an hour and a half like this. I said, you got to be kidding. Here we go. It was one after another, and it was wonderful listening to them. But I said, if I have to do this every day, Bobby, should I stand or sit? Thank you, Bobby. Please, Dr. Oz.
Okay. Mr. President, I'm going to jump in here real quick. I want to start by thanking President Trump. Sir, from the very first phone call we ever had, your support was strong. It was steadfast. It was unwavering. And because of you, millions of Americans are going to have a greater opportunity to bring the greatest gift, in my opinion, life into this world. Your support, your administration's support, it's a game changer. All of us here today are aligned. This is a celebration of life. It's a celebration of parents. It's a celebration of families. And it's a celebration for those people who want to one day be parents themselves. I think every parent can attest, and I certainly do myself, that the greatest gift that God has ever given me is the ability to be a mom. We want more people to have that opportunity. We want to make that easier and more affordable. IVF is what makes the difference for so many families that are facing infertility. So you've seen the numbers. It's either 1 in 8 couples, or some people say as much as 1 in 6, are actually experiencing issues with fertility. It's 9% of males and at least 11% of females that are facing these challenges as they work to build their family. The recommendations today that President Trump has set forth are going to expand IVF coverage to nearly 1 million more families, and they're going to drive down cost significantly. Mr. President, this is the most pro-IVF thing that any president in the history of the United States of America has done. And Mr. President, it's your leadership. You are the reason why the Republican Party is now the party of parents. We are the party of families. This is why when Senator Cruz and I worked last year, we got every single Republican senator to sign on and say that they supported nationwide access to IVF. And just for the record, IVF is legal and accessible in all 50 states. And President Trump taking this action today to lower cost, to bring these issues to the forefront, and to enact solutions for people working to start their families. I want you to know it's significant, and there's more to come. But this isn't the only thing that you've done to prove that we're the party of parents and we're the party of families. If you look at the working family tax cut, guys,
he made sure that hard-working parents were front and center in that legislation. You know, whether it was child tax credits being expanded and made permanent, whether it was Trump accounts that are going to change the game for so many parents, or whether it was childcare. So for decades, we have heard Democrats talk about childcare. President Trump actually took action on the affordability and accessibility of childcare. We know that 1 in 4 families say that they hesitate to have more children because of the cost and because of childcare cost. For the first time, this man actually took steps to change the dynamics for hardworking parents. So of the 3 tax credits that he reformed and the working families tax cuts, 2 of them had not been touched in 2 decades, and 1 of them had not been touched since 1986. So President Reagan was in office the last time anybody did anything about it. But you changed the game on that, and I was proud to lead that effort in the Senate. And so on behalf of moms and dads, on behalf of grandparents and sisters and aunts and uncles and brothers and people who are looking to expand their family, we say thank you. Thank you for all you do to support families in this country and make a healthier environment and an easier one for us to grow the very most important thing. God bless.
So let's set the stage. Put it in perspective, 2 weeks ago, as President Trump alluded, a leading U.S. drug manufacturer came into this room and agreed to do something none of us thought was possible. A most favored nation agreement with numbers, again, inconceivable. Last week, a company from Europe, a global leader in the pharmaceutical sector, came to this office, made the same kind of commitment for most favored nation pricing, again, because the president insisted on it and was persistent, and he alluded to the fact that he was calling Secretary Kennedy and me quite a bit. He definitely was, with great insights into the process and would not hold back. But I think what you're seeing today is something even larger. It's larger because we're now showing that MFN is a tool that can get other initiatives going as well. We are revealing perhaps the most important MFN opportunity at all because it's about procreation. It's about babies. It turns out that MFN is a tool for a lot of things, and it goes without saying that you get the drug pricing down, but lots of other business necessities become possible when that occurs. So Secretary Kennedy and I, who's a wonderful leader, talk frequently about family. I think the reason he's a great leader and president as well is because they have large families and they take pride in the joy that it gives us. But many families, as Senator Britt alluded, do not have the ability to have children. But it turns out that it's about 1 in 3 families, a much higher number, that don't have the number of babies they desire. They're under-babied. So this president committed to address that during the campaign, and he is delivering on that today in a way I don't think anyone thought was possible. We are opening the door with MFN pricing and tariffs that support it, Secretary Lutnick, with a new approach to make reproductive medicine more affordable for Americans. Now, I know what you're all thinking, and you're probably right. There are going to be a lot of Trump babies. I think that's probably a good thing. But it turns out the fundamental creative force in society is about making babies. It's about creating. And this country, the one that President Trump is leading so beautifully, has been a country of abundance, not scarcity. To have abundance, you have to address the fact that we had 3.6 million babies last year, which is beautiful. 3.6 million miracles. That's 500,000 less babies than we would ideally have had, even to replace our current population. Building on the success of the last 2 weeks, our team, led by the head of Medicare, Chris Klump, who's standing over there, and Ina Hernandez, have negotiated a spectacular MFN deal to reduce the cost of IVF drug prices by $2,200 a cycle. That's nearly half of the price that it had been. The most prescribed drug in this category in America, made by MD Serrano, is described over here. And you'll notice, President Trump, these are discounted from $242 to $10. I don't know what the math is on that. We can't even calculate it. It's a lot. It's too high to calculate without a more studied approach. But I give it up there because that number of $10 will apply for every American who earns less than $115,000 a year. That's 70% of the American people. The remaining folks who are able to make more will have to pay a tiny bit more, but it's still most favored nation pricing, no different from what the Europeans are willing to pay. Now, to make this deal happen, Chris and Inma had to do something special. They have to actually not just get the drug price down, but get the middlemen to let it go as well. And Mr. President, we've met with the middlemen in the past. They're now joining the MFN movement. I want to thank Express Scripts Freedom Pharmacy and then CVS's Specialty Pharmacy, because they were willing to stand up and do the right thing for the American people by answering the president's call and slashing their prices. Now, this announcement also encompasses a remarkable move from Marty Makary. And Marty Makary is, of course, the leader of the FDA, but he has ongoing efforts to accelerate their approval of innovative medicines that will further reduce the price and make this whole process more seamless for the American people. Now, you're about to hear about a spectacular new program that's been alluded to, but one of the architects of that program, Heidi Overton, Deputy Director of the White House Domestic Policy Council, is going to take us through the exciting details of what this is going to offer for the American people, especially those who are in the workforce. But first, we think you should hear from Libby Horn. Libby's EMD Serrano's head of fertility. She brings both professional expertise and a personal connection to this work. She has 3 beautiful daughters, and she has personally benefited from reproductive medicine that has shaped her family, and her company made today's spectacular MFN pricing possible. Libby.
Thank you, Dr. Oz. Thank you, Mr. President. Today, we gather on this national stage to celebrate a historic step forward in expanding access to fertility treatments for those who need it most. Mr. President, thanks to your leadership and the tireless efforts of your team, this is a momentous day for Americans who struggle but remain hopeful to build their families. Infertility is on the rise in our country. 1 in 8 couples face infertility. This isn't just a number, it's real lives, dreams, and aspirations of hardworking Americans. The teacher who goes to school each day, surrounded by children, but aching for children of her own. The firefighter who puts his life on the line, but can't create the life he wants at home. The consequences of these challenges can take significant tolls. Some of you watching today have given up or are frustrated because access to IVF treatments has been out of reach. That's why expanding access to IVF has been an issue of great importance to the President. He made this clear in his executive order declaring the administration's goal of supporting American families by enabling access and eliminating barriers to IVF. Today, EMD Serrano is proud to help President Trump deliver on his promise to you. Thanks to the President's leadership, EMD Serrano has worked alongside distributors and other partners to help more families have access to services and innovations that are consistent with other countries. Through our partnership with the administration, we are proud to announce that Americans will have access to our leading IVF therapies for an 84% discount off list prices. That's amazing. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you for making this possible.
Thank you very much. That's great. Fantastic.
For more than 40 years, EMD Serrano has been a global leader in fertility. Our science was instrumental in the birth of the first IVF baby in the U.S., and we've helped to bring more than 6 million babies into the world since then. Our purpose is to help create, improve, and prolong life. That means discovering more medicines and bringing them to patients faster. FDA Commissioner Makary has made it a priority to ensure that Americans have access to the world's most innovative treatments as quickly as possible. To that end, EMD Serrano is filing a new IVF therapy called Pergoveris for review under the FDA Commissioner's National Priority Voucher Program. If approved, Pergoveris would combine 2 key reproductive hormones in synergy designed to mimic reproductive physiology. This therapeutic option could mean fewer injections, fewer copays, and lower self-pay cost, all of which make a real difference in the IVF patient experience. In closing, on behalf of EMD Serrano, I want to send my heartfelt thanks to President Trump and the entire administration for their leadership and vision in this critical area of healthcare. Together, we will make a difference in the lives of countless families across this nation and uphold our long-standing legacy of creating life. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for your bold leadership that's allowed our teams to go far beyond what anyone thought was possible. On behalf of the Domestic Policy Council and Vince Haley here, we would like to also thank all the agency partners and the stakeholders that we worked with to get to the solution today that will make a real impact for families. Specifically, today's historic actions, 4 in total that you see, are made possible by coordination of all of the White House team and 7 agencies, many of who are represented here, and their teams that have worked tirelessly. As you described, Mr. President, the current system isn't working. 7 in 10 Americans don't have coverage to IVF. They face high costs and uncertain outcomes. And there's intense demand for fertility benefits. 65% of Americans say that they would leave their current job just because of fertility benefits. So you asked us to lower costs and to fix the broken incentives in healthcare. In addition to lowering the cost of drugs by 73% or $2,200 per cycle, which if you missed it, most people require 2 or 3 cycles. So it's significant savings for families. I'm also going to briefly outline the new solution for coverage. This is a new fertility benefit option that employers can immediately offer to their employees starting today. This afternoon, the Departments of Labor, Health and Human Services, and Treasury will be releasing guidance that, for the first time, creates a legal pathway for employers to offer fertility benefit packages to people that need them, similar to how dental, vision, and life insurance are currently offered. This will be followed up by a regulation. These benefits can address the continuum of fertility needs, from the root causes of IVF, which Secretary Kennedy is working on very hard at HHS, to it'll be a coordinated package that does not exist in traditional health insurance today. It'll make it easier for employers, including small and mid-sized employers, to compete for talented employees. Currently, many small businesses cannot afford to offer fertility benefits at all. This is making it possible for them to offer benefits the same way that large companies like Amazon and others offer benefits. This is a pro-family benefit expansion that will transform clinical outcomes by addressing fragmented coverage and care. I'm a physician by training, and it's very important that we have high-quality care. Fertility benefit companies are poised to offer packages that have reported so far roughly 25% higher live birth rates for those that seek care compared to those that don't have such benefits. They also report fewer cycles to achieve pregnancy, improved natural pregnancy rates through better care before you need IVF, and reduced chance of miscarriages, a 21% reduction in miscarriage rate. Leading physicians in the field have also relayed that these types of benefits significantly improve the patient and doctor experience, allowing both to focus on care rather than navigating the bureaucracy. These impacts are very personal. Here with us today are my good friends, Congressman Richard Hudson of North Carolina and his wife, Renee Hudson. Both have worked in public service for years, including Renee for all 4 years of your past administration, Mr. President, and they struggled with infertility. Today they have a beautiful son who's their pride and joy. He's an amazing boy. But they also suffered multiple losses throughout their fertility journey, something that is very common. Unfortunately, too many people go through the hard, arduous process of IVF and still result in a miscarriage. So today, your option is not only saving money, it's going to improve the quality of care significantly. This new benefit option simultaneously represents the greatest opportunity to expand coverage of IVF that the federal government has ever taken, while also improving the care delivered. Additionally, and very importantly, it gives employers maximum flexibility to design benefits that are consistent with their values. Put simply, this new fertility benefit option means lower costs and more healthy babies. So today, this announcement, we are realigning the industry towards the simple metric of more healthy babies at lower costs. I would now like to introduce Samantha Bush, the wife of NASCAR driver Kyle Busch, who's been a leading advocate for IVF access and affordability after your own infertility journey. Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello, everyone. My husband, Kyle, and I battled infertility for over a decade before being blessed with our 2 beautiful children, Brexton, who's 10, and our daughter, Lennox, who's now 3. But our journey was long and painful. We faced 6 rounds of IVF, multiple miscarriages, multiple failed cycles, and countless moments of heartbreak. We face the roller coaster of hope and devastation that so many families know all too well. Through it all, we held on to faith, each other, and the belief that somehow, someday, God would turn our pain into purpose. We also saw firsthand the staggering financial burden that comes with infertility treatments. Sitting in the waiting room of our fertility clinic, we overheard another couple quietly say that money was the only thing standing in their way of having their family. In that moment, Kyle and I looked at each other, and we knew God was planting a seed in our hearts, a calling to take action. In 2015, that calling became the Bundle of Joy Fund, a nonprofit foundation dedicated to providing financial assistance to couples struggling with infertility. What began as a small act of faith has now grown into something far greater than we could have ever imagined. To date, we've granted over $2 million directly to individuals, helping them pay for their IVF treatments, and we've celebrated the birth of 108 beautiful babies through our fund. Thank you. Each baby is a living, breathing testament to hope, community, and God's grace. For every tear we cried, for every shot we gave, every doctor's appointment that ended in disappointment, Kyle and I knew there had to be a greater reason. This was God's plan for us, to use our journey to advocate, empower, and be the voice to those battling in silence. Over the past 12 years, we've worked hard to raise awareness, erase stigma, and bring hope to the 1 in 6 couples that will face infertility. Infertility can be incredibly isolating. It can leave you questioning your faith, your body, and your future. But it can also reveal a strength that you never knew you had inside of you. It can deepen love, it can bring couples closer together, and it unites people through a shared struggle. Our goal has always been to show others that they are not alone, that there is a powerful community of infertility warriors behind them. Today, seeing President Trump acknowledge infertility on a national stage is profoundly moving. It's no longer a whispered conversation behind closed doors. It is a recognized, validated struggle that so many families have to endure. His leadership reminds us that those in positions of power can make real and lasting changes for generations to come. Their willingness to bring this issue forward shows that they not only hear our community, but they truly care about us. Thank you, Mr. President, and to your family, for shining a light on infertility and for standing by couples like Kyle and I, for standing by couples who only want to hear the words mommy and daddy, who want to watch our children open their Christmas presents on Christmas morning, who want to see the world anew through the joy in their kids' eyes. Your acknowledgement honors the power of family, faith, and love, the very values that make America the greatest country in the world. It's proof that when promises are made and promises are kept, lives are changed forever. Thank you, Mr. President.
Anybody else? Howard, would you like to say a couple? I was hoping you would say that. Bobby, come on up for a second. What a job you're doing. Yeah, say a few words, Bobby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your vision, your commitment to our country. When my uncle was president, the fertility rate in this country was 3.5%. Today, it is 1.6%. The replacement rate, in other words, the amount of fertility that you need in order to keep your population even, is 2.1%. We are below replacement right now. That is a national security threat to our country. And we know why this is happening. And President Trump is addressing the root causes through his MAHA agenda of reducing endocrine disruptors, the exposure to chemicals that decrease fertility. Today, the average teenager in this country has 50% of the sperm count, 50% of the testosterone as a 65-year-old man. Our girls are hitting puberty 6 years earlier. And that's bad, but also our parents aren't having children. Parents who want to have children do not have access. I have 7 children. I feel that God has blessed me with that. And I can't imagine how different my life would be if I did not have that blessing. I want to point out also this morning, Harvard University released a study that showed that the obesity rates have now climbed over 70%. And this, again, is for the same reason we're flooding our kids. We're poisoning mass poisoning a generation of kids with chemicals. President Trump has instructed us to stop these problems at the root cause. But he's also recognized that there are people who are injured, people who are not living their life to the fullest, and he's addressing that. Last week, we made GLP drugs available at Most Favored Nation. And this week, it's IVF. Oh, I want to thank you so much for that, Mr. President. I saw on an airplane the other day, you said that you didn't believe that you were going to get to heaven. You're doing God's work here. You've made peace in the Middle East, which is beyond anybody's imagination. And now you're giving millions of Americans a chance to have babies. And you're doing this while the government is locked down by the Democrats. But this administration has not stopped working for the American people. And that's because of your energy, your commitment, your vision, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of it.
And he's doing a great job. And by the way, Kyle is fantastic. So he's got a lot of courage. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't care. Howard, you and I would not be good at that. We'd go about 30 miles an hour, but we'd be safe. Anyway, so thank you very much. Any questions, please?
Mr. President. You posted earlier today.
Yeah, please.
Mr. President, this is a major campaign promise that you made. It was a big hot topic towards the end of the election. You're delivering on that again. I actually had a question for Secretary Kennedy or Dr. Heidi. Dr. Heidi, you said something that I thought was really important. You talked about how this coverage option, this benefit option, gives companies the maximum flexibility to design benefits consistent to their values. I was wondering if either you or the President could expand on that and talk about why that's an important thing to understand about this program.
Yes. Thank you. It's a great question. We think that employers are best situated to know what them and their employees want to contribute to in relation to their benefits. So employers are going to be able to decide how to cover the root causes of infertility, things like obesity, metabolic health, and other things that are impacting infertility. And also, if they want to encourage their employees to see certain types of doctors, and they can work with providers that are identifying the highest quality fertility providers. And so it puts them in the driver's seat. And our view is that we want employers to be the ones that can make those decisions, not the government. Thank you.
All right. That's a good answer.
Yeah, it was.
That was a very good answer. Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Mr. President, previously you did not seem to be bothered regarding Hamas cracking down on what you called gangs. Actually, a couple of gangs. And today you issued a threat against Hamas on Truth Social. What has changed?
And what was said? Go ahead.
You said if they continue keep killing innocents in Gaza, that if that continues, the United States will go after them. I know, I issued a strong statement. That's right. They used to be gangs, and now you're saying innocents. What made you think they're innocents now?
Well, I'm looking at what's happening, and that wasn't the deal that was made, and we'll see what happens. It's calmed down. It's a tough neighborhood. We know that. We have a commitment from them, and I assume they're going to honor that commitment. I hope they do. And I understand they brought back some additional bodies today. It's a rough deal when you think of it, right? Very rough. We have our hostages back completely. We were very lucky with that. But it's a tough situation. They brought back bodies today, as you probably know. But they also said they're going to behave. We're going to find out if they behave. If they behave good, if they don't behave, we'll take care of it. Yeah, please.
Following up on that,
you say your CNN fake news. Go ahead.
You said in your post that if they kept killing people in Gaza, we would have no choice but to go in and kill them. So do you mean U.S. forces would go in and take out Hamas?
No, I didn't say who would go in, but somebody will go in. It's not going to be us. We won't have to. There are people very close, very nearby that will go in. They'll do the trick very easily, but under our auspices.
Could I follow up? You also posted about your call with President Putin today, and you spoke about the meeting in Hungary with him. Do you have a timeline or a date set for when?
Yeah, I would say within 2 weeks or so. Pretty quick. Marco Rubio is going to be meeting with his counterpart, as you know, Lavrov, and they'll be meeting pretty soon. They're going to set up a time and a place very shortly. Maybe it's already set up. They've already spoken. And I thought it was a very good phone call. I thought very productive. But I'll be meeting with President Putin, and we'll make a determination. Tomorrow I'm meeting with President Zelensky, and I'll be telling him about the call. I mean, we have a problem. They don't get along too well, those two, and it's sometimes tough to have meetings, so we may do something where we're separate but equal. We'll meet and talk to parties, but this is a terrible relationship the two of them have, and it's one of those things. I've seen things that nobody would believe, but this is one of them. So we're going to be meeting in Hungary. Viktor Orban is going to be hosting, and it's really something that's time. Last week, over 7,000 people were killed. That's ridiculous. And, you know, it doesn't affect our country. We're not losing people. We're not losing Bobby. We're not losing Americans. But they're losing Russians, Ukrainians, mostly soldiers, for the most part, soldiers. And we think we hope we're going to get it stopped. I thought this would be, because of my relationship with President Putin, I thought this would be very quick. And it's turned out to be, who would think I did Middle East before I did this? We did a total of 8 now, 7 and now 8. And we're going to make this number 9.
So you said you posted that there was great progress. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Was it a shift in Putin's tone? Was it something new he told you? Did he give you any message to give?
You're talking about the whole
President Zelensky tomorrow.
It just seems to me that, look, it's only a field. That's all I've done in my whole life. I've made deals. I know about deals. I do it well. I don't think any president's ever ended a war, frankly. One war, I did 8 of them, Maria, right? And but I don't know, did Bush ever end? Do you think Biden ended a war? Biden started wars because he was stupid. But do you think Biden ended any wars? No, I don't know of anybody that ended wars. I ended 8 of them, and it's going to be 9. I think we're going to have this one done hopefully soon. But I'll be meeting him probably over the next 2 weeks. First, Marco is going to be meeting. And the vice president, as you know, is very much involved. The whole team is involved. Steve Witkoff will be involved. Yeah, please.
What did you tell them about the Tomahawks? Did you discuss the Tomahawk missiles? Did you discuss?
Well, we talked about it a little bit. Didn't say much, but I do say to you, we need Tomahawks for the United States of America, too. We have a lot of them, but we need them. I mean, we can't deplete for our country. So, they're very vital. They're very powerful. They're very accurate. They're very good, but we need them, too. So I don't know what we can do about that.
Why do you think a second meeting with Putin now will yield different results?
Well, I think Alaska actually set a stage, and that wasn't very long ago, but it set a stage. You have to understand, I came into this situation. I didn't start this war. This is a Biden deal. And I came into it, and it was a mess. It could have led to World War III. In my opinion, this could have led to World War III. That won't happen, but it could have. So I came in, this war was raging. When I left, this wasn't even a thought. For 4 years, nobody talked about it. I spoke to President Putin about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye, but there was never going to be doing anything like this. And this all went because of some really bad decisions that were made. And look what you have. You have millions of people dead. You have just a horrible, horrible situation. I'm doing it to save souls. That's all I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it for us. We have an ocean between us. I'm doing it also to help Europe. They want to have it ended, but they're unable to do it. I'm able to do it. So I think we'll be successful. We'll save a lot of lives. It should have been done. Should have never started. This would have never happened if the election weren't rigged. This would have never happened. But it did happen. and I'll get it stopped. Okay.
What's your message to the pro-life
conservatives?
Yeah, you mentioned a $1,300 drug at the top of this. Were you referring to the weight loss drugs?
Yeah, I was referring to Ozempic or I heard the fat loss drug.
So those are going to be $150 out of pocket for
Well,
Americans.
they'll be much lower. They'll be much lower. Yeah, go ahead, please.
We have not negotiated those yet. We're going to be rolling these out over time. The GLP category of drugs, which includes Ozempic, have not been negotiated yet.
What's the timeline for that?
But it will. It'll come down, like everyone else.
Okay. Any timeline on those negotiations?
No, but I think those are going to come down pretty fast, and we do have, I guess, some alternatives.
The president will be happy with the result, and until he is, we're not going to close those negotiations. Thank you.
Except it'll happen.
Got it.
Mr. President, what's your message to pro-life conservatives? Some pro-life conservatives have religious objections to IVF and are already critical of this policy. What's your message to them?
I don't know about the views of that. I'm just looking to do something because, pro-life, I think this is very pro-life. You can't get more pro-life than this. Please.
Mr. President, you've been talking about how this new benefit plan will also include root cause treatments for infertility. How will you make sure that those root cause treatments are equally accessible to IVF?
Well, I think we're going to be doing that. Would anybody like to talk about that subject?
I'll comment
Please.
on the rulemaking process. I think it's the determination, again, Secretary of Labor, the determination, the Department of Labor is issuing their intent today to open up the rulemaking process, again, for more flexibility. Anytime that you have a president who's leading when you can offer more access to health care at a lower rate is a benefit to the American people and to the end user, and that's exactly what he's doing. And so you heard before that through the Q&A guidance that was issued today with the other agencies, that will give guidance to our employers and the employees about what the flexibility of that is, and then again opening that rulemaking process for further determination of the access that can be had offered in those benefits for all different types of health care access is the goal of the Department of Labor.
Good answer.
Thank you.
I like this better. I just said they can do better than me. Yeah, please.
Do you think
Good job, Laura.
see-
You're doing a fantastic job. I shouldn't tell. I won't say it. That I will not say that she was recommended by the Teamsters. Can you believe it? And she's turned out to be a gem, an absolute gem. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, John Bolton was just indicted.
Do you think we could see your deal-making skills applied to the government shutdown anytime soon?
Well, look, I mean, all we want to do is just extend. We don't want anything. We just want to extend, live with the deal that they had. They want to spend $1.5 trillion on illegal immigrants, and they want to destroy health care for everyone else. And it's crazy. It's crazy. People that are here illegally, they want to spend $1.5 trillion. So we're just not going to do it. No, we have to take care of our health care. Now, we're doing that today, and we're doing it with, favored nations, the most favored nations. Your costs are going to be dropping greatly. And I'm really I'm really happy that it's at the beginning of my administration, because I did insulin and got it down to like $25, but it doesn't kick in. It didn't kick in for 2 years by statute, so it couldn't kick in. And I said, boy, I hope I win this election, because if I don't, somebody else is going to take credit for it, Bobby. And sure as can be, Biden said, he didn't even know what the hell was happening, and it was a hard thing for me to do. I got insulin way down. What was it before that? It was just massive. It was impossible to afford. And sure as can be, because it was statute, it couldn't have been earlier. I said, boy, this falls into the next administration. I better win. And all of a sudden, I watched this Biden taking credit for something that I did, and on other things too. We had a lot of things kick in. So the nice part about this is at the beginning of our administration. So I think we're going to see the fruits of our labor. And I hope on our other situation that we've talked so much about, autism, I hope we're going to see some very good results based on the recommendations that we made. And, we have time to watch those results now.
John Bolton was just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You tell me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but that's the way it goes.
The case against him?
That's the way it goes, right? That's the way it goes. Will I what?
Have you reviewed the case against him?
No, I haven't. But I just think he's a bad person. Okay, anybody else?
What's the timeline for the IVF drug through the National Commissioner Priority Review Voucher, Dr. McCary?
What do you think, Doctor?
So, first of all, the National Priority Voucher Program says we're going to proactively at the FDA look for amazing treatments like this IVF treatment. We're going to reach out to the companies, and if it's in line with the president's national priorities, we're going to put those drugs at the front of the line and get a decision out in weeks instead of a year. And so today we announced 9 drugs that are going to be recipients. These are products where the manufacturing is going to be in the United States, or it's meeting a large unmet public health need, like a diabetes drug we announced today. Or it is a product where you're going to see an affordability phenomena because the prices are getting equalized in line with the president's most favored nation status goal.
Wow, that's great. Why didn't I have him speak? He was so could have saved a lot of time. Thanks, Ronnie. I'm not surprised. Yeah, please.
Yes, thank you, Chris. So Senate Majority Leader John Thune today said he'd like to proceed with the bill which would put sanctions on Russia. What's your thought on that?
Well, we're going to see. He doesn't know about the call yet. I'm going to speak to him later. And it was subject to what I wanted to do. And so we'll see what happens. This may be such a productive call that we're going to end up, we want to get peace. We want to stop the killing. 7,000 people a week. Can you believe it? We want to stop the killing. So I'm going to speak to him and the speaker, Mike Johnson. I'll speak to them a little bit later and I'll tell them about this and we'll make the right determination. I'm not against anything. I'm just saying it may not be perfect timing. It could happen in a week or two, but it's at my option, as you know.
Right, but did President Putin try to dissuade you from selling Tomahawk missiles?
Well, of course. What do you think he's going to say? Please sell Tomahawks?
No, but did he give him
Is he going to say, please sell those Tomahawks? I really appreciate it. I did actually say, would you mind if I gave a couple of thousand Tomahawks to your opposition? I did say that to him. I said it just that way. He didn't like the idea. He really didn't like the idea. No, I said it that way. You have to be a little bit lighthearted sometimes, but no, he doesn't want Tomahawk. Tomahawk is a vicious weapon. It's a vicious, offensive, incredibly destructive weapon. Nobody wants Tomahawk shot at them.
Specifically ask you not to provide Tomahawks?
So, wouldn't anybody? I mean, it's been in the news. Who wouldn't do that? CNN. Who wouldn't do that? You know, do you think he's going to say, I'd love to have Tomahawk sent my way? I don't think so. Maria, we have one of the great stars of television here, and she's an incredible person, and she's just an amazing woman she got it all right. She got the Russia hoax right. She got everything. Would you have a question?
Yes, Mr. President. I would ask you why this was so important to you, IVF, and why was autism so important to you? What are you trying to achieve?
Well, autism is like a whole different thing. When you look at, it was 1 in 20,000. Now it's 1 in 12. If you look, Bobby, we have different numbers, but 1 in 12, 1 in 28, 1 in 32. There's a couple of different numbers out there, but it's 1 in a very, very different number than it used to be. It used to be 1 in 20,000. And that was not that long ago, 20 years ago or so. And now they had something for boys, for babies, baby boys. It's 1 in 12. I heard 1 in 10, Bobby. I heard another one, different lists. But when you think of that, it's not even sustainable, but there's something artificial. When that happens, that's not like a natural. And then you have certain groups of people that literally don't have autism and they're not taking some of the things that we're taking. So we're working very hard. And on IVF, it's just that I have friends, including Katie, that called me and they told me the importance of it. I wasn't that familiar with it. Now I think I've sort of become the father ever since I heard. There was a bad decision in Alabama where a judge wanted all clinics to be immediately closed, right? And Katie called up and you said you were pretty strongly attacked by your friends that you didn't even know were involved with IVF, right?
You had people that had grandkids, people who'd gone through IVF themselves telling their story. And saying there are people that cope out there.
Tell what you did when you heard from your friends. You said this was not, they almost became violent. Right?
I told him, I said, Mr. President, we need you. We need your voice in this conversation. We need the directive. We need the strong support because there are millions of people out there, moms and dads, wanting to bring life into the world. And you had people, the chilling effect that occurred across Alabama, there were people that were in the middle of that process that had been praying to have a child, and that was halted. And so the reality of that was very stark in our state. And so I was able to tell the president some of the stories of people, friends and grandparents and relatives that told me what they had experienced, and also, what they were fearful of in the future. And the president very quickly acted, spoke with a strong voice, and really led the way. Obviously, we saw Democrats continue to fearmonger for the remainder of the year, trying to use it as an election issue, when actually IVF is legal and accessible in all 50 states. And President Trump very clearly said where he was on this, and he said, I'm going to make sure that this is more accessible and that it is more affordable for families coast to coast. That's exactly what he did, but it's that real life, those real life stories, sir, that he responded to. And that's what people don't know about him. He cares. And when you tell him what American people are dealing with, he wants to do something about it. You have leaders and politicians that come before him that want to talk about things. President Trump wants to actually make things happen. That's exactly what he did here, and I'm so grateful, Mr. President.
Thank you, Katie, very much. Appreciate it. So we will go back to what we're doing. Working again with Marco and with JD and a few other people on the war, and we're doing a lot of other things also. The economy is unbelievable. It really is. It's been incredible. And I think one of the great numbers that I've ever heard, think of it, over $17 trillion being invested in our country. And when you think of, compare that to the last administration, but really compare it to any administration, compared to any country. There's never been a country with anything like that. That's in a period of 8 months. And we've already broken every record possible. There's never anything even close. So we'll go back to all of that. Prices are down. Oil is down. We're down $58 a barrel. We're going to be hitting $2 for gasoline. I think we're going to be at $2. And the previous administration, they were at $4 and $5. They were going up much higher. Signal. And then they swung back into my things, but they didn't swing back properly. They were very, very late. They really blew it. We had it really going in the right direction. They came and took everything out, and it's incredible. I'll never forget. They lost control of the price of gasoline, of oil. They totally lost control, Howard, and then they went back immediately. Well, let's go back to Trump. But by that time, it was too late, and they didn't go back because the leases and everything else. They didn't do what they had to do. They wouldn't know. They really didn't know how to. But we could be hitting close to $2 a gallon. I'd love to break it if we could, but we could be. And when that comes down, everything else has been coming down. Groceries are down. The price of things are down, and honestly, the simplicity is if you can get oil down. It's such a big category, everything follows. So just about everything follows. And we are working on beef, and I think we have a deal on beef that's going to bring the price of beef. That would be the one product that we would say is a little bit higher than we want it, maybe higher than we want it, and that's going to be coming down pretty soon, too. We did something. We worked our magic. But groceries are down, and energy is down. Electricity is way down. We have the prices coming down for people. They were abused for 4 years by the Biden administration. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Thank you.
Changes to the IRS.
Thank you, Chris. Let's go. Right on, you guys. Thank you, guys. Sorry. Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys.
I gotta ask you something. Do you know what a comet is? No. Not that kind of a comet. A comet is a new AI-powered web browser from Perplexity. Let me ask you something. How much time do you spend every day on a web browser? How much time do you spend clicking around online, searching, scrolling, typing, having endless tabs open? That's a lot of stuff for you to handle and be able to go back and forth to find things. Well, stop it. You don't have to do that anymore. Comet will do that for you. Using Comet feels like having a personal assistant living in your web browser. that can actually do things for you across the internet. It gives you answers. It finds things for you. For example, you can ask Comet to handle tasks, and it literally clicks, types, searches, and scrolls just like you would. But it's getting things done for you in the background while you go about your day. Comet can shop for you. It can make reservations. It can book your travel for you. It can summarize articles or videos. It can send emails. It can schedule meetings and a lot more to make your lifestyle much easier. Comet doesn't just give you answers. It gets things done. That's pretty cool. Very cool. It's AI that actually helps you in your daily life today. Before you automatically say no, because I know there's so many people who are so resistant to AI, try it. Actually, try it. You'll be shocked at how it will make your life so much easier. You're in full control of what Comet can do at all times. And if you download Comet today, you'll get 1 month of Rumble Premium for free. So this is the perfect time for you to get Comet. Get yourself your own digital personal assistant who will do stuff for you. Trust me, you won't believe how easy it is and how much time you'll save. I use Comet daily to help me find a lot of the news I bring to you guys. Download Perplexity's new AI web browser, Comet, by heading to http://pplx.ai/Barry. You'll see the link in the description below. And let your browser work for you. And remember, if you download Comet today, you get a month of Rumble Premium for free. Again, that's pplx.ai/Barry. Go now and take back your time online. Reclaiming my time. You hear me coughing or maybe you didn't. I'm like, OMG. Okay, let me just share it with you. Just in, John Bolton is expected to surrender himself to authorities as soon as tomorrow after being indicted by a federal grand jury. John Bolton has been indicted by the federal grand jury. OMG. It's happening, people. It's absolutely happening. They're going to go absolutely berserk. I love it. You got to love it. It's actually happening. Let me follow that up with something SV sent me. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban just got off the phone with President Trump, and he reveals preparations for the USA-Russia Peace Summit are underway. Hungary is the island of peace. This is amazing. President Trump met with Orban a few days ago in Egypt when he struck peace for Gaza and Israel. Now he's planning on yet another peace summit for Russia, Ukraine. 47 is a workhorse. It doesn't stop. It absolutely doesn't stop. We've been going for almost 3 hours here right now. And I know this is why I do the night show. There's now so much more to talk about tonight. I still have an hour of that town hall to go through, actually like 45 minutes. 50-50 said do it later, so I'll do it tonight. I'm talking to you about the Bolton the Bolton indictment. I'm sure President Trump's going to speak out on that. Things are moving quickly. The earth is shaking under the Democrat establishment. The pillars, everything that they hold dear, they now need to hold fear. Oh, this is incredible. I'm going to take some comments, but before I take too many comments, I wanted to address this one from Tisha for all you guys. Barry, I ask for your special prayers. My husband is having a cardiac procedure tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thank you for all you do. Tisha, God bless you. May you find comfort, and may God's hand touch your husband and bring him through safely and heal him. So I wish you the best. I'm sure the rest of the Fanfare family feels absolutely the same. Whew. Wow. Oh yeah, Hungary didn't allow any of them in. Bolton will be out on bail soon. Yeah, I would assume so. He still got indicted. Now he's got to pony up law fees, everything else. Does Comet keep good bookmarks? It's better than bookmarks to keep the actual things that you need. Like for instance, let's say you want Comet to check gold price every morning, or silver price every morning, or oil futures, winkety wink, or anything like that. It can do that for you. It's basically a search engine that you can turn into assistant. Yeah. Oh, Peter. Adam Schiff, public enemy number one. You next. You're next in the barrel, bro. Let's see. The president of Hungary was the first to acknowledge and praise Trump for exposing the corruption. It's actually happening. Hey, BLS, how you doing? You know, when I try to comment to you directly, I can never do it. It doesn't recognize your name. I'm not sure why. But in any event, there were some people here earlier who were looking for XRP stuff. Barry, did you see the Democrats are going to primary Fetterman? I mentioned that earlier. Now he's got to go. As far as they're concerned, he's not towing the crazy line. They actually want to get rid of him because he had a stroke and went sane. They couldn't do that. Bolden, when just indicted, just spoke about that. Absolutely. What else we got here? He's all over the news. Yep, we're gonna cover that tonight. So I'm gonna shut it down now, so I can get all set up and go eat and go kiss the wife and play with the dogs and get ready for an 8 p.m. show, which I'm sure there be a lot. What were the Bolton charges? I'm gonna have to go do the research myself. I believe it has to do something with the documents he took out. So I don't know, but we shall see. Yes, prayers for Tish's husband. Yes, please, thank you for that. So is Obama moving? If he's not moving, he's been looking over his shoulder at this point. A lot of people probably looking over their shoulder going, OMG, what do we do? What do we do? Adam Kissinger. Here's what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to make a prediction right now. There's going to be something brought before the Supreme Court that's going to blow everything apart, and that will be: are these pardons legal? Because at that point, once that's even attempted to pierce, the fact that they're trying to cut through when they drop that, all those people are going to just lose their minds, because at that point they know the only reason you be trying to pierce the pardon is because you plan on doing stuff. So right now Adam Schiff is probably feeling a little bit comfortable because he's got a pardon. I think he's got one. Did he get one? I'm not sure. But I know some of the other ones like Kinzinger and what's her name, Liz Cheney, they might be feeling a little bit comfort. But once they see that filing, that's when heck is going to break loose. There's a shortage of popcorn every single day. And just think about it. It is 3 o'clock. No, it's 4. It's almost 5 o'clock. It's almost 5 o'clock. President Trump just gets done with this event. I'm sure the media is going to give him a hard problem because he went and sat down. They got nothing. They're going to bitch that he went and sat down. Oh, what's wrong with him? Why did he have to sit down? I'm sitting down. I've been sitting here for 3 hours. I get up and walk around a little bit, but damn, I don't want to stand for an hour and a half. Don't make a big deal of it. They'll make a big deal about it because they got nothing. You imagine being a Democrat right now and the only thing going for you, is protest. That's it. The people up there in Washington, they got nothing for you. You're hoping that these district court judges can keep stalling because eventually they get slapped down. So the only thing that we can do now is go out in the street and do some No Kings protests, which mean this much. They mean absolutely nothing. They got nothing. Violence and protest. That's it. That's all they're going to have. And they know it, and unfortunately, their politicians know it as well, that they've got nothing. So, I'll go ahead and finish the town hall tonight with a whole bunch of other stuff I've got. I mean, there's so much out there that I want to bring to you guys. And I'm wondering when that interview with Maria Bartiromo is going to air, because he mentioned that as well. So that should be interesting. All right, let me go ahead and do super chats before I run out of here. I get to do the nighttime studio. Jax, prayer for my fiance, please. She's the only USA civilian employee currently working and not being paid in her department. She's in charge of the cyber division on her Air Force base. She's under a lot of pressure. Definitely pray for her, but who's she under pressure from? I'd love to know that. Fakowski, dang, missed the start again. Lolly B, but you're here. Fakowski, you're back. President Trump, please do not slow down. I've come accustomed to having to run constantly around him. Tilly, hey Barry, mods, Fanfare family, good to see you all. Thank you for watching. Macon Blankenship. We never said some, we said all. Every single one of them. Get them all out. Absolutely. Penny McCordor. Barry, you deserve a super chat just for your comical remarks, especially on the testing the racial. If you don't know what she's talking about, there was some crazy white woman who was talking earlier about how everyone's testing racial waters. You either are, you're not a little bit pregnant. Mama Mima, confused. Does a mayor have that much power? Nope. That's another thing. What you just asked, Mama Mima, was what Martha McCallum should have said. Can you really do that? No, I can't. Why are you talking about it? Tilly, you updated our daughter-in-law. She now weighs 89 pounds and doesn't have much longer. Our son and granddaughter are taking this very hard. I am lost for words. I can't say. I have many things to do. I'm so sorry, Tilly. 89 pounds. Wow. Wow. Bless you. Give your family comfort. We'll pray for you. Chapo, those lip reading sessions I took are coming in very handy. Oh, wow. Yvonne Berger, I'm begging you to do your best to get silver. A lot of people are wondering if they missed it, if it's too late. Well, if you're paying attention with what's going on in AI, Mary Combs, Ampex was a company at Lear. Capital referred to me for small amounts of gold and silver. Okay, great. Ampex. APMEX. American Republican fighter. When these clowns speak, all I hear is circus music. You should play a circus theme. Oh, I had some themes ready, but I hadn't gotten there yet because you haven't gotten to the really crazy stuff yet. FL, the Amish never voted before 2024. They voted to get off the communist Marxist run. Yep. I knew some Amish people. Moshe, the rabbis of the Talmud define being happy with what you get, a very deep thought. Penny, adding to the deficit will keep shrinking the dollar and prices will keep rising. Democrats want $1.5 trillion of your money to give away to the newcomers. Yet they're so afraid to say the truth. Eric, the biggest problem with what Bernie said is Americans. It's the newcomers that are being kicked off. Exactly. Demon of Cybertron. AOC is the last person I'd ask for eviction advice. I don't even know I've asked her to make a drink. Mr. Mike, if the Marxists think that they're going to go around and take people's money, the only thing that they'll be taking is FAFO. Unfortunately, government already has their hands in people's money because of the way they set up the tax system, that they take out all your money before you even see it. That'd be something they should do. Make it that you have to ask on April 15th. Jan Cott, Trump's the best president in our history. Yeah, he is. Fazul, every president is known for one big thing in a 4-year term. Trump does it weekly, even daily. Astounding. Shame on the left for not crediting him. The contrast. Oh, that's what I was going. I'll tell you about this contrast thing here in a second. Did you go to Naz? Did you go to subscription at night? Haven't been able to find you. No, last 2 nights I didn't go. Last night YouTube had a problem. But no, I will be on tonight. God willing, I shall be there. In closing, I just wanted to talk to you. I took a couple notes about what was said today. The contrast. On one side, you have people that seem to be doing everything they possibly can to stop people from having babies. They're making men, emasculated. They're making women not attractive with the nose rings and the blue hair and the hairy pits, and it's like they're actually trying to make it so that these two people never come together. You're a soy boy and they're something, and then not even accounting all the ones they want to chop off their junk. And on the other side, you see people saying, have babies, have babies, have babies. And the one thing that I saw in the chat is the one reason why I talk about prosperity. You saw it. There were people in the chat saying, I would have had more children. I couldn't afford it. I wish I had done this so I could afford to have more kids. Those two things go together. Trump knows that. I can't encourage people to have families if they can't afford it. So when I see people poo-pooing on prosperity, I'm like, you don't get it. You don't get it. We want people to be prosperous. We need people to be prosperous. This country has to promote prosperity so that it can continue to promulgate. If you become dependent in any way, shape, or form at any point in your life, then you can no longer promulgate. And it doesn't necessarily mean you yourself having kids, but it's very hard to encourage the people behind you to have kids if you aren't there to help support them. I hope Ashley wasn't listening. Because my job at this point as a grandparent is, I'm not having any more kids, is to, if Ashley decides with her husband to have more kids and bring more grandchildren, well then, you know what, we're here to help you. We're here to help you when you decide, whatever it is you want to do. Winkety wink wink. More. We must have more. But in any event, you understand what I'm saying. So none of that happens without prosperity. So when I'm talking about gold and silver and stocks and real estate, is because I'm encouraging you to get to the point where you don't feel like you can't afford it. It is so freeing when you get to a position in life where, I'm not saying you're going to go fly to the Riviera. That's not the kind of freedom I'm talking about, unless, of course, that's what you aspire to do. But the kind of freedom where if you would like to have another child with your significant other, your husband, your wife, if you'd like to see your kids have grandkids, and they need the prosperity, they need the backup just in case. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about living a life of freedom that doesn't infringe on your family's ability to live the life they want to live. Not everybody's going to have the huge yacht. Not everybody's going to have the mansion on the ocean. But that may not be what you need. Uh-oh, I might sing it tonight. You can't always get what you want, but you try sometimes. You try sometimes. You might just get what you need. I think the guy's name was Mick Jagger. I will talk to you guys tonight.